Is everybody in?
Is everybody in?
Is everybody in?
Is everybody in?
The ceremony
That's what she said.
is about to begin.
Weed's getting rolled up, and it's about to begin.
That time. The OG's ready.
Yoji's ready. Oh, he is ready.
He's fired up.
Just ate dinner, so he's still.
He's feeling froggy.
I apologize, everybody.
Right on.
Pop up chat here, and of course, kick
Make
on
sure
over
to switch.
chat.
Yeah, man.
Hey, yeah. And if you're feeling frisky, give us a like, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and all that fun stuff if you want to know what's happening. Because as you see, last week we didn't go live. I apologize, everybody. Sometimes the garden work just takes a little bit longer than we expect. We we broadcast, live, all of that stuff from our farm about an hour away. So, we didn't even get done until about 10 o'clock, didn't hit the road until like 10:30. And so, by the time we got home, there was no show to be had. Unfortunately, we had to eat because we didn't do that at all. We were both hangry. So that really needed to happen. So we chowed down. Speaking of chowing down, talk a little bit about that. It's a good time to plant some seeds and all that fun stuff because of the super moon and all that fun stuff. So anyways, before we get into all of that, Becca's grinding down some, I think, citrique. We only have a couple more nugs left in our jar. What are you guys grinding up? What's going in the chillum? What's packing the pipe? Abolish, I see a blunt hanging out of your mouth. What's in there?
Yeah.
I'm trying. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm sitting here trying to welcome everybody to the show, man. Everybody's piling in here. I just want to say cheers. I'm glad everybody could make it tonight, man. Now that I took the wind out of your sails.
I got a little half herb citrique. This was a pre-dinner doobie that turned into a let's eat and smoke it after.
He likes to roll joints and smoke like right when food's ready.
Yep.
Early every time.
Yeah, that's like that.
Get your appetite going.
Yeah.
Or right before.
Yeah, but you need
time.
like 5 minutes earlier. We need to like get you in that habit. Couple minutes earlier.
Yeah, I guess
so.
I'm usually doing lots of things right up until then. I'm like, oh, she's cooking, so I'll go do like a lot of stuff right now while she's cooking. Oh, the OG agrees.
It's kind of why I like my cooking like a burger for lunch or whatever, because it seems like I can go roll one, start it up, smoke half of it, go out there and flip it, and then smoke the other half, and then it's done perfectly every time.
Yeah, good 15-minute burger, 15-minute doobie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got sour melon rolled up, of course. I just got done with a big old harvest of that a couple of weeks ago. Just love the stream.
Yeah, man.
It's fulfilling, man. It is rewarding, certainly rewarding, getting a chance to reap what you sow there, man. In a lot of different, literally in a lot of different ways. It's cool, man. You grew that yourself, did you?
Oh yeah,
All by my very self.
You grew it,
but chugged it all the way.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that an indoor specimen that you grew there? You grew that indoors? Indoor growing.
Indoor.
Yeah. I'm not blessed with a greenhouse, or I'd love to try sour melon outdoors. I think Sequence did it like 2 years ago.
Yeah, he had that in the greenhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did you have that outside this year too?
No, I'm not doing any sour melons outside. Only the OGs and then some of the PTSDs or whatever we decided to call it.
Yeah, no, PTSDs. Yeah, man. So you took the strawberry fucking Starburst one out there?
Is that a clone?
I fucking love it.
No, just the seeds, because we actually have a bunch of packs left over from the grow off, even still.
You know what?
So, I mean,
I
fucking love that smoke,
those
man.
are good because weren't those finishing like 55 days, like 55, 60 days?
Some of them were.
They were starting a lot earlier. They were starting flower a lot earlier.
I know that, man, when we went over there for the party and we had to sit down and try those, dude, those were fucking amazing. You had the strawberry and the pineapple in one pack, and that's that's kind of what you hope for when you buy a pack of seeds. Is you want to see them lean both ways, and then you can make your your pick on that afterwards. LG says Mac 1 is loving it outside, bro. How leafy is that motherfucker getting on you? And if it ain't yet, it will be soon.
Amazing.
Does that strain like still grow really, really slow outside? Or you actually get a decent plant out of it?
Well, it's not that when we went to the greenhouse sequences, it was right next to a fucking citral glue, right? And the Mac 1 was booming like that. I said, oh my God, brother, this thing is going to yield like a motherfucker. No, it's just a big plant. It's not like it yields great outside. You can take it out there and run it. The thing with that is when you have that head stash shit, man, you don't necessarily have to have a lot of it. You're not trying to turn the whole block on. That's some shit that you keep for yourself and roll up.
Yeah.
There's a sense of freedom in being able to grow your own smoke, and we were just talking, I think it was before the show. We got, we were surprised in the middle of our dinner that we were like, oh shit, there's only 5 minutes before showtime. So we had to like hurry up and get finished up. We were like pumped.
Shovel it. Yeah.
But we've been eating out of our garden like crazy, man. We pulled some zucchini today and we didn't even eat them because we already had some other food lined up. We had some beans that, we've been picking throughout the week, and then some beautiful purple carrots. I mean, deep fucking purple, black, stained. Beck, is your hand still stained, or did it finally come off?
I showered.
Did it look like you were choking Grimace from the old McDonald's shit? Super purple.
So stain your hand black. It was wild. We have some grapes, Pat, like these wild grapes that are just bleeding purple. And the reason I bring it up is just because of how good anthocyanins are. I love that word. There we go again.
Anthocyanins, baby.
Yeah, that purple pigment. It's like chlorophyll, but it's a lot higher in antioxidants and overall, it's just good overall longevity, health. And I think I went into a whole anthocyanin spiel maybe a few episodes back. So I probably won't go that deep down the anthocyanin rabbit hole right now, but purple pigments, reds and purples and deep blues, and a lot of that is, some reds are other things, red in carrots, beta carotene gets really high concentrations, aside from just the micro and macro mineral contents. There's other vitamins that are essential for our health that we may otherwise need to hit up a GNC to supplement for, or something like that. If you have yourself a garden in your backyard, or on your balcony, or shit, abolish even in a grow tent in your house, in a bedroom,
off the deck.
Yeah, whatever. And,
that's me right now.
Do it. You have a little bit of freedom there with just being able to grow some, whether it's food, whether it's medicine, or the combination of the both. I think it's cool to, like, even just for a hobby or an experimentation of, science, something like that, where somebody's like trying to create a little ecosystem, whatever it is, man. It's I think that it gets the
wrong account.
It gets
hello, Rosemary.
It gets the hey, there you go.
Make sure you go follow them on Instagram if you haven't.
It's the really thoughts, cool page. When you learn about closed loops, whether into terrariums or aquariums or any of that shit, you know what I mean? Like, once you start understanding how fragile those systems are, it kind of makes you understand how fragile the ecosystem we live in is, potentially ecosystem within us is. At least it has for me, and a lot of people that I know that have been exposed to just the sciences, simple sciences and stuff like that. But like, true freedom is just like being able to grow an onion or a tomato or a zucchini. It's easy stuff is zucchini. Zucchinis will grow almost without the help.
It's just so much cheaper, and you have so much more control over, like when you plant and when you harvest and what you're going to do with it. And then you can get into the canning side of things. You know what I mean?
Actually, on it, they've been trying to link what digestive issues, autism, certain types of cancers, autoimmune diseases. They've been trying to link that with gut health, and they've been trying to link that with our food for so long that it's almost they're starting to find links more towards pesticides, glycophosphates, and shit like that than they are to any of the shit that they found.
Dude, did you see that all fucking rainwater is contaminated with microplastics now, man?
Oh yes, I've seen that. They found a fetus, human fetus with microplastics inside of it. So
when you say they found one, do you mean they just like rummaged around in a back alleyway and said, "Hey,
there was I don't know how they did the testing. I don't know any part of it. I probably heard third party, hey, did you hear that they found that they found plastic? So I don't know. I have to probably look this up. So I'm definitely
it's it's kind of unavoidable, but you do the best that you can.
Yeah, I mean, still, whatever. There's an island of floating trash. Even if, dude, I don't know. It's whatever it is. The molecules are out there. It's natural, right? It's all gonna. The idea is that it's all gonna go back to nature at some point, but who knows how long that takes. We've dug it up, disturbed it, processed it down into something. So I find that like making furniture, for example, eating food, anything that comes from like a natural source is typically a stronger, more reliable methodology. I don't know. Not plastic furniture, but even what looks like wooden furniture. I bought a table. It was like $300. I thought it was wood just because of the price, you
got hustled.
It was all kinds of.
It's made up of old drinking straws, bro.
It was the worst I mean, it was a really good laminate job because I really thought it was wood. And after, inspecting it for, a year later, the laminate started coming off, and I was like, this motherfucker is laminate. The laminate comes off, and then here's the bad parts. It's all loaded with glue. That fucker heats up and it starts to off gas all the glue. Yeah. It's particle board, so it's just filled with glue, epoxy, whatever you want to call it,
Good times.
Yeah. So I like good old hardwood, good old stock wood, whatever. Make nice.
You know what I think we should do as a solution for this? I think we should get all of the massive polluters and fucking overrunners and all that shit, and we should put them in a large auditorium and dose the shit out of them. And just have a conversation like, yo, we do realize that like these are finite materials and that we really don't know what the fuck is going to happen here. You all got to chill out on this fucking raping the earth shit, man.
So we've slowly kind of got a nice little set of like not antique furniture. This stuff is mid-century hand-me-downs from my family, but nonetheless wooden furniture,
like real wood that's not pressed
wood, man. This shit's gonna outlive us if we keep it inside and keep it protected. There's no reason to go out and buy the next best thing because there's a good chance that it's just a whole bunch of sawdust filled with glue put into a press, and wrapped with plastic and painted to look like wood. That's what most furniture really is. So I mean, and to do the hand-me-down thing, it's like not just being resourceful, but you're regenerating, you're doing like almost the whole thread: reduce, reuse, recycle, the whole nine, right? So this that clock, that's all clock. Yeah, that fucker's made. Actually, I take that back. That thing
looks like an 80s clock.
It's the back of it is like that that like cardboard wood material,
masonite shit.
Yeah, that weird like masonite type shit. Yeah, but it's kind of gritty. Yeah, it almost looks like tweed. It's totally from like the 70s, 80s. But nonetheless, I mean, it's all wood material. Sweetener, particle board. Yeah, exactly. It's in the name, particle. So I'm sort of ranting in a way, but it's just I everything you kind of need is right there. It's beneath their feet. I mean, yeah, you might have to like mill a tree, dry it out, right?
Well, I'll just fucking go right out in the back and fucking chop that right. You know, I'm gonna call Baked. Baked said he's been doing a lot of tree work lately. Maybe I can get him to come over and saw some shit down and mill some trees.
There are ways to be slightly resourceful, and that's just it, you know. Now I got to find some time to go holler at him because he's got some, you know,
he's got that oak for you, right?
There's supply and demand right there. You know, I like to see where else I can source supply from. You know, is it only box store? I tend to always drift box store, you know, and that's immediately where I go. Lately, I've kind of been doing this thing where I shuffle around my property, I shuffle around my house and my yard. I see.
I can picture this already, Red. Keep going.
You know where it is, what it is, what can I use that I already have, and then
you have everything.
Put it, as being
everything.
Like a bit of a pack rack, you know. So you have, and I don't have like worthwhile stuff, you know. Like I don't have like, or what should I say? I don't have worth. What am I saying? I don't have
valuable
shit. The shit that I hold on to is things that will have longevity to them, and that's why I hold on to them.
That's why you like rocks so much, because they were here long before and they'll be long after.
They're not going to go anywhere. You know what I mean?
They're not going to go anywhere.
The glass too. Glass has longevity to it. Unless I break it, unless I'm clumsy and neglectful to it, it's not.
You got to watch out breaking that radioactive glass.
Yeah,
watch out, radioactive man.
That whole clock is filled with radioactive glass. It's with the Geiger counter probably hung next to that.
Blue Kiss says you look like Jeff Lebowski in his slippers and robe.
Hey,
it's like your opinion, man.
And that's just it, though. That's my opinion, and as my opinion, I think that one, me as one person, you know, her and us as a couple, as a household, I guess, because that's really when we have kids, we're multiple people, but really we're coming out of one household. We're not allowed to bury trash. That's a city ordinance, things like that, right? But as part of our being able to like need to regenerate the land and things like that, we are burying cardboard. I think that goes as being some sort of a civil disobedience by us doing that, because we're kind of going against a city ordinance just because we're doing that. There's so many things.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
That's what I mean.
So stupid, man.
I'm surprised that if I go into the code a little bit further, I'm going to find something about rainwater usage, something about, you know, gallons that I'm allowed to collect, something, you know, I'm sure that there's a code for everything, which I understand why codes are needed and necessary. You know, I get it. I get it. But at the same time, not everybody will abuse, has the ability to abuse and things like that. The rules are set in place because of the people that will abuse do abuse. So that's where the issue comes in place. The issue comes that exactly, Skilbo, everybody needs to sit, everybody with ill-mannered intentions need to sit down in an auditorium and take a high dose or get dosed or something, or find out what they're doing is causing a lot of harm to,
you know what's funny, Red, is like we have, as a society, we like to talk about nature, right, as if it wasn't us, as if we weren't also a part of nature. The separateness that we have established between us and nature and our need to dominate it and exploit it is really so goddamn silly when you really think about it.
That's exactly why people need to get together in a room, like you were saying, and dose together and work things out, because everybody has this lack of connection to people, nature, spirituality,
empathy.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that we do have this conditioning of us being this dominant species where we are almost the only things with some sort of a consciousness. And when you take a psychedelic, we can get into this bit of the conversation. When you take a psychedelic, it seems as if everything has a consciousness, including inanimate objects, especially what was once living and is still living, even though you chop their heads off. Wow, how do they stay alive? Oh, well, they're living through the water and they're hydrated, whatever. Nonetheless, it's still alive.
That was like 4 days ago.
Yeah, exactly. For 4 days. But everything is alive, you know, and to some, even inanimate objects such as what would be a rock or something like that is really alive because it's part of the earth and it vibrates to a frequency and everything is in a sense of vibration. And because it vibrates, it technically moves and it has a purpose and a being. And without the ebb, there is no flow and this, that, and the other. So
it's so weird because like I was reading this weekend Reddit, they were saying, well, do honeybees have sentience? Well, fucking, of course they fucking have a sentience.
Absolutely sentience.
Like if they're making decisions based on things.
Sure.
It's not photosynthesis, guys.
And it's not just instinct either. I don't believe. I think that they are, making their own decisions.
That's why, like eating seafood and shit is like, like boiling the fucking lobsters and shit. Like, lobsters are sentient, man. Like.
Yeah.
Just realize that shit. Like you may want to break out the little fancy forks and shit, but
they tell us that they don't.
And
they don't feel anything. They don't know anything.
That's so ridiculous. Does it not have a fucking central nervous system?
I believe that with all of our food, though, and including our plants. And to the extent to where like you have to be. I try to be grateful for the plant being selflessly giving them, or the animal, or whatever it is, whatever your food is. You got to understand that wherever you eat, that life was selflessly alive for its purpose, and that was to feed a human or feed another animal.
What's it made to feed a human, bro?
Well, even if you don't think the plant is alive, we got to think of even on a smaller scale. Everything has millions of microorganisms living in it.
She live chatted me.
What happened?
She live chatted me. She took the reins and put me in live chat like y'all should be.
Oh damn, we're 22 minutes in. You're still in top chat.
I've been staring at it for a while too.
Always.
Thank you, Becca.
I think that there's a lot of stuff with scent. I like to read when
Red, do you remember when they did the shit with the mushrooms where they can stick the things in and they can hear the frequency, then they make noise, and then all the studies about playing music for plants and noticing how they react to the stimuli, because that's all they're doing is they're reacting.
There are studies where plants not only react to immediate stimuli to where somebody's in the room with voices and audio vibration, but to like thinking and thought. There's studies where plants are actually like sit in a room and somebody would think bad thoughts to one plant and think great thoughts to another, and the growth differences were incredible. There is.
Have you not noticed that specific thing in your cannabis growing? Like if you're going through a bad time, your plants don't seem to do that well.
Always, dude. 100%. Now, some may objectively say that, well, that's because you're not putting your energy into it, and I absolutely agree with that. You do become neglectful and things like that, but there's just it's a different type of a response. It's a different type of a growth, even when you are taking good care of it. If you're unhappy and you're taking good care of your plants, they still don't look the same as when you're like, not thinking about other shit. And really, it's cluttering your mind, clogging your ability to just remain in the moment with whatever it is you're doing.
You're doing that. We do that to ourselves, though.
Yes, and
because we constantly need distraction. Yeah,
they don't want you thinking about all the hubbub, whatever it is that's stressing you out. They want your interaction, which is minimal because you're only in there for a little bit, to be good and happy, and that's what they want. And they don't get it.
You can never get good if you lack focus. You know what I mean? Like if you want to get good at something, like let's just use basketball, right? So how did Kobe Bryant get good? Because he took 1,000 shots a day. He's the first person to gym, the last one to leave. You kind of have to be that way with your own life. It's not necessarily about sports or about business or anything else. Look at Red and Becca. They fucking are kicking ass. They're managing 2 gardens. One is outdoor, one is indoor, one is multiply. I mean, like, and they're doing their yard work, and they're also streaming at least 6 hours a week, right along with me, like, this shit adds up, man. So you have to remain vigilant to the task at hand, You know, if you want to become a great grower, you know how you become a great grower? Grow a lot of fucking plants. Just grow a lot of fucking plants. And I'm not saying you have to grow 500 because you only are one person and can trim and harvest only so much. I mean, just keep doing it. Keep your journals. Keep paying attention to what the fuck is going on and only change one thing at a time, which means it's going to take time to become a really, really good grower or a really good basketball player or a really good cook or whatever it is that you apply yourself to, man. But, you know, a lot of people lack the self-confidence as well as the discipline. It's not just a discipline.
Super rewarding. And I tend to say like lean towards cannabis and grow cannabis because it's super easy to grow. Like when it's all said and done, a lot of people will, you know, there are all kind of steps to growing the plant, and there are some differences to grow a cannabis plant than
but we both can agree that the plant is what's helping us. So it doesn't matter if you grow DWC and I grow organically. It doesn't matter if you like sativa and I like indica. It doesn't matter that Abolished wants to boof everything.
And that's just it.
The thing is that we can all agree that the plant is what's fucking helping us.
Yeah, and you just find a way that works for you to grow it.
Blue Kiss says I'm funny. She hot messes her grow and comes skidding in at the end. You know what? I like the cut of your jib because that's how I do it too. But I do have to say that I feel really, really like extra confident right now. Like my plants are looking so fucking nice. I went out. This is your little preventative thing. If you are growing outdoors, flowering season is nearing us. So if you guys have any last minute IPMs and shit that you want to treat your plants with, maybe you want to do a little bit of sulfur, maybe you want to do some other things, the time to do that is now before we start developing bud sites. And then since we're doing that, that's also a good time to go through and leaf strip the fuck out of these things, because look at the plant, look at the bud site, say, am I looking and counting on weight from that one spot on the inside? No, fuck that. That's going to be a vector for disease or pests or something else. Get that shit up out of there. Let's make this an easy run to the end. If you think your plants are big right now, they haven't even started flowering and stretching yet. So Annie, bar the door and start thinking about those drying spaces. And if you need to pick up a dehumidifier, and also with these power shortages coming, all you indoor growers, I'm looking at you. Y'all need to get a fucking generator. Don't be caught short come September time talking about I lost all my plants because fucking DTE has some power lines down for 3 days and my shit's all dead. That's the end of your Skilbo PSA for the evening. Cheers, everybody. I'm glad you guys could fucking come through and hang out with us. I hope you're smoking swell. If you have any questions, toss them in the chat. Also, we've already been talking about top chat, live chat, all that good shit. But did you remember to give the show a thumbs up?
The notification bell, because we go live.
Ooh, and my joint's still lit from all that fucking talking.
On Thursdays, every so often.
I'm having to do joints right now because I'm fresh out of
As soon as I
gas.
said that, it went out, that motherfucker.
Fresh
You ever have that? You think you got it. You're like, oh, it's still fucking lit. So you say some stupid shit and come back to it like, damn.
Doing so much gardening. I got a damn sty in my eye.
So
Can't
it's fucking Ninja Toads, bro. They got you. Speaking of Ninja Toads, Abolished, what's going on in your tent right now with your setup? You're talking about butt chugging shit. You want to run through anything?
Well, right now I have OGs that are in like week 4. Just updated Instagram actually with the 2 tents that actually have anything decent going in it.
Which account on Instagram, since you've got 5?
The Abolished Inc. one.
Okay, Abolished Inc.
Yeah. But yeah, I got that going over there. That is we've talked about in the past, the minimalist build or whatever for the frugal forest, where you don't go out and get expensive wicking bed or anything. You just get some basic trays and
Get a kids
Loco
pool.
bots.
They're going on clearance, bro. Get a kids pool.
Yeah, those were actually hard to find during the C word, but I seen that they're back in stock this year, so it might be something to do for future tents. But yeah, that's one of the basic ones, but just adding Coco Loco to it.
We got Hello Kitty pools.
If you need any
Hello Kitty pools.
But
Red, didn't you have a bunch of 4x4? Do you have a 4x4 tray? Anybody? I got a 4x4
Sure.
tent, but I need a 4x4 tray.
sequence second-handed my 4x4s off of me.
Okay.
I will have one at the end of outdoor season, an extra one for you.
I have a couple
Go
2x4s.
grab it. Yeah. Well, I got my 4x4 tent but I gotta take. Excuse me. Hold on a second.
Are the 2x4s what we're using right now? And the plants we just put in?
Yeah.
That's 2x4?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a hard time visualizing
We
measurements like that.
Yeah, I have to take clones off of my outside plants so that I can wait until the end of the season to make my selections for next year's outdoor. I'm just gonna hold them in a 4x4. Just keep taking clones.
Yep.
Maybe flower a couple out. Because I also have a 4x8 tent. I just have to get the floor space to put it up.
Yeah, dude. I think I saw subpool.
So talking about pools, man.
I saw Subcool or somebody growing in kiddie pool. He was putting his like 100 gallons or some shit. They would completely fill up. One pot would fill up a kiddie pool. And I was like, damn, that's a good idea. Instead of spending $100 on a 4x4 tray, this is like right when I was like starting on my room grow and I need to get plants in there. And I'm like, I need my budget for other shit. I can't spend $700 on a bunch of 4x4 trays, you know, like here, let me just go buy 6 kiddie pools real quick. Went to the fucking local A site. Dude, it was in like November too. It was like maybe October. Either way, it was like right after they had like put everything away for the season. And I'm like, you guys have any kiddie pools by chance? They're like, kiddie pools. Like how many?
You must be growing.
I need like 6 kiddie pools. like
what the fuck?
It's October. What are you doing?
So you just put a pool in the
pool, a little
space?
kiddie pool. It was like 30, almost 40 inches in diameter. I could easily fit 4, 5, 6 plants under a light. Yeah, and I was only running my
Big Jar has a 100-gallon in a kiddie pool, and then Blue Kiss, she's been rocking those for a couple of years too, man.
Yep.
Blue Kiss, your garden is looking good outside.
Yeah, I was checking it out today. It was looking really good.
I mean, they're designed to be completely filled with water, so they're pretty durable.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, a little bit of water is not gonna.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of weight. That's a lot of tensile strength that those things are designed to hold. So, and they're designed to sit out in the sun and all kinds of shit. You know what I mean? Whatever the fuck you want to do with them when you're done. Film a sand, have a nice little beach party.
Georgia guy says do a search for dog kennel trays unless you're flooding and it handles the overflow.
That's a good idea too.
Yeah. Well, the only problem with them is
for a veggie guard.
Right is some of those they're not all created equal. Some of them are really, really hard plastic and they're semi-flexible, and then some of them are really hard plastic and they'll fucking break. I say that because I worked for Humane Study for a long time. I'm used to dealing with many crates of many donation types. Some of them are good and some of them are shit, man. The other thing you can do is you can go to a box store and you can get the it's like a low tide tray that you put under your hot water heater, or what is that? You know what I'm talking about?
Water heater tray.
Yeah,
water heater trays. They come in plastic sometimes. They're usually metal. Metal ones, I think they're designed to not rust. I'm pretty sure they're stainless, so they're rather expensive if you get the metal ones. They're probably like $30, I think, a piece. So depends on, but they have a drain that's at the bottom, so you could also like use it as an overflow. I don't know, like they're kind of nice for different applications. I've thought about using them like before drain away tray or some shit like that, which is now a company that exists, which is pretty ingenuitive. I really like their design, similar to Bucket Company, but it's a tray that goes on the ground. I like the head height. You know what I mean? If head height is something
you can get it,
you have an issue with, you need to go low to the ground. You can't get up on trays. Fortunately, I have a ceiling height I can work with, and I can get up on trays, which I like because then I don't have to add pumps and shit like that. I can just put a 5-gallon bucket underneath my tray and it'll vac itself. I can just
it just overflows. Yeah,
it overflows with that.
Then we don't have to get on our hands and knees.
Because right now we're mopping up, we're vacuuming out a tray.
Oh, dude.
For years I used a sponge. Fucking sponge.
How long is that taking, man? Do you at least have the knee pads like the dudes use that fucking install flooring and shit?
Yeah,
don't you have fish tanks? use a water change hose, the one
Yeah,
that you
a
hook up
pump.
to like the sink.
It was like too low to the ground. It was like almost, it was on the ground. So I couldn't use like a vac. I couldn't use I probably could have used a shop vac. And I'm not sure why I just didn't
Right.
use a bucket head or a shop vac. One day I got a bucket head and it changed my life. That's this thing where
What is a bucket head?
it turns a 5-gallon bucket into a wet vac, which is really nice. Just
Oh,
a
that's fucking
top that goes
sweet.
on top of
Yeah, every grower's got a 5-gallon bucket. They usually have holes in them, but we always have them.
I'm pretty sure Menards has a version. Home Depot has the bucket head.
I haven't
I
seen
don't
one.
think I found a version at Lowe's, but it's a box store deal. You know, I've tried different wet vacs. Right now, we're using some
It's like a
handheld.
I'm
wet
all for
Right
it as long
back,
as it's
Mark,
like
grab some.
it's got to be a dedicated like wet vac. I don't like using. I've got like 4 shop vacs, man.
Right back.
I don't like using ones that I use for
Shop
dirt and
vacs
shit
get
for
too
water.
bulky sometimes to get in
Yeah.
between. You know what I mean? And trying
I've
to
got
get
some of
them-
those old Sears Craftsman ones from the 80s. You want to talk about a big fucking thing, man. Jesus, it's hard to roll through doorways, let alone, in between aisleways.
So that's an upgrade that we need to do. I'd say when I do things like upgrades to my indoor grow, I try to go new. Mainly because I'm building out a commercial space. I'm still manifesting a commercial space,
It's coming,
whether or
man.
not
It's coming.
whether or not the township wants to agree to it, it's what will happen. I'm trying to make that dream come true. The that I like to keep like because longevity and things like that. But other, when I'm dealing with the garden and stuff like that, we just took some old bed frames.
So have you ever tried one of these, Brad? This is
What is that?
so this is for changing your fish tanks.
Oh, that's
Oh,
good.
okay. Yeah.
I can
So
use
you
this
just
in
drop
the,
that right in.
yeah, I can drain wicking beds on the ground with this. So if you
Hell
ever need
yeah,
to do it,
man.
this is like a $20-$30 solution.
What can I type into the search bar to find something like that? What is it called?
Water change. I don't know.
Oh shit! You're just gonna dangle this beautiful fucking solution to all our problems.
Hold on,
right
give me a minute, and I'll go look it up and then
There you go.
link it for
I
us.
got you, chat. I got you.
So in theory, I could like go up in the canopy with this. Dude, is it like a little vacuum pump, hand pump deal?
No, dude, it hooks up to your faucet, and then you just turn your faucet on, and
It's
it
like
uses the pressure.
it's like a waterbed one.
Oh,
Exactly.
That's what that is. Okay, it's like a siphon thing. All right.
But it works great. That thing's got like a 50-foot hose on it and still drains it.
we gotta turn your water on. Nah,
Yep.
you gotta wait.
That does make it a little bit more of a problem, is to be running through with all that different hose. It would be different if we had something small that we could shunt into like a 5-gallon bucket.
Yeah, so I'm like I like the theory of this like bailout deal. So what about what about those things that you use to like bail out a boat? It's got like a little hand pump.
Yes.
A piece of PVC. It's about 18 inches long. It's got a little hose that goes out.
What sound does it make again? It's pretty close to what it does sound like, actually.
And what if
Pretty
that
close.
hose was like 50 feet long and went to like standing over a 5-gallon bucket holding that fucking thing, and I went underneath the canopy?
It's better than stealing gas, the old style where you got to do the siphon with don't choke on it.
the current wet vac is just you gotta like take it apart to dump it out.
It's heavy, man.
Dude, they
Messy.
designed this thing so
So
that when you
messy.
dump it out, like, okay, where do you dump out? The bottom, right? And usually the top vac
Floor drain or in your mop bucket if you got
Shop
one.
vac.
Utilities thing.
I mean, okay, so the container is in the bottom, right? Not on the top. So okay, so let's talk about the pieces of a wet vac. All right, you have a bottom that's usually a reservoir
Let's do some
or a
engineering.
container, right? The bottom's usually a reservoir or a container to hold
Dude,
the
everybody
wet.
knows what a wet vac is.
I know, but here we go. And then the top is the the fucking motor, right?
The vacuum.
Usually the hose is hooked to the top so that you take off the top and then you have the reservoir. You can go dump the fucking reservoir. No, they have the hose attached to the fucking bottom reservoir, and the top goes, so you take the top off, move that to the side, and the bottom reservoir still has this whole fucking hose attached to it.
Untwist the
And so you
hose,
got to untack, twist, and undo the hose,
then it's
or
leaky.
you got to hoist the fucking over your shoulder like a continental soldier and fucking go over and fucking and dump it, you know? And what
So that's what you're gonna put in your search bar there, Skilbo. I'm gonna put it
There
in
you go. I
chat.
appreciate that.
Yep.
MC Llama Hawk then says, full moon indeed. See, you know where it's going tonight.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys went over and checked out Prohibition Show before us. That was a pretty good episode, man. Crispy and smart, weed nerd. And after this show, slide over to Talking Shit with Eagle, man. It'd be a good night and a good way to spend the full moon while you're waiting for these beans to pop that you guys are throwing your last minute autos in.
Yeah. Full
Oh, we
moon.
were thinking
Get
about
some
that.
seeds to go.
Oh,
We have
yeah.
a whole stash of seeds right in front of us, sitting with some nice fresh lavender in front of it, getting some juicies.
What kind of auto seeds do you guys have? Any?
They're right here.
I'm got a lot of autos. I need to hook up with an auto
Flame
breeder again.
stars that are
Man, I love the whiskey Zulu the auto flower. Okay.
Damn, dude, some old
Morning
schools
Star.
there.
I get those too. Is that the Baby Huey
Microdot.
PH12? Okay, the mic.
Oh, damn, micro dye, really cool.
So we're thinking about popping these outside and bringing them in before the end of the year and finish them off and over here in the under some lights if they need be. But I'm gonna pop these other bits. But dude, we're gonna be doing some
It'd be cool
fall
to try one, 'cause I've never
garden
tried
shit,
one.
potatoes, carrots, leafy greens.
Oh yeah, we're gonna plant seeds tonight.
Trying to at least within the next couple of days because of the full moon. That full moon energy, the good microbes, baby. Yeah, soil's popping right now. It's a good time to get seeds in the ground. It's a good time to just start seeds in general. It's a good energy.
You got to recharge our crystals too, right?
You know what? Any
good time
day
for
is a
that,
good
too.
day to pop seeds. Let's be honest.
Just keep planting, just keep growing, especially if you're succession planting. I mean, you want to pop seeds like once a week. That's something that we have not done. We're kind of in process of build out, getting a lot of stuff going. I think next year we're gonna have like pretty much every week something being planted, probably all year.
What are you going to have every week where something's being harvested?
Yeah, exactly. And, we're hoping to get into some of the markets in the area, get some actual food out there to some people, do the whole urban suburban, I don't know where we're at, suburban farm
You're in suburbia.
type deal. And really it's freedom for us to do it, but it's community because all we really have out here. There's 1,000 home subdivision. There's one down the road. There's just multiple of these huge ass groups of people. There's a big Kroger. There's a big Meijer. There's a big Sam's Club. There's not a lot of markets. There's one farmer's market. It's not packed. Everybody doesn't go to that. Everybody goes to other stuff. Not that that's bad, but we're starting to see some increases in pricing, right? Gas is one the most noticeable. And that right off the bat, if you have to ship your vegetables, well, it takes gas to get there. So the price of the vegetables go up just from that. So overall inflation happens. But then there's this trickle down because of the price of fertilizers going up and the price of this is going up, the price of that, blah, blah, blah. So the trickle down gets bigger. The trickle down gets bigger and bigger. Like the price of these summer squash, right? Spaghetti squash. We will substitute spaghetti with spaghetti squash. You should try it. It's totally delicious. If you can get over the fact that it's a plant rather than a bunch of plants turned into.
I mean, spaghetti noodles were a plant too at one point.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Noodles were, and that's exactly what I was trying to say. So that was
hopefully all that stuff's going to go down because the CPI numbers came out the other day, and it's the first time in a long time that inflation's actually came down.
Hold on, the what? The CPI? What the fuck is that, man?
It's the report on.
This is a psychedelic show, not an economic show, bro. I don't even know what the fuck that means.
It just means inflation's going down a little bit.
Okay,
isn't it the price time in a long time?
Isn't it a price index?
I don't know the exact terminology for that.
I think that there's going to be some like, what is it, like false inflations, like some of those false scarcities, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? fear of scarcity to cause inflation, that kind of shit, stuff like that. But anyway, I don't want to get too far off the point, which
We're
is
44 minutes deep into this, and we still
No,
haven't even
I don't want to get too
covered
far
it.
off the point.
We have a topic.
That
We don't have a topic, bro.
A spaghetti squash is a substitute for spaghetti. You know, noodles aren't that expensive to begin with, but regardless, if you wanted
I'm
to go,
somebody who's like loves spaghetti noodles. I love noodles so much,
Trick them, right?
and I can eat spaghetti squash. It tastes the same. I love my pasta.
there we go. Okay, so there's
It's way
there's
healthier, right?
There's a subjective opinion. We pay
It's a subjective opinion.
we pay between $5 to $7 for a single spaghetti squash. Okay, it's way more expensive than a box of noodles, but way more healthier than a box of noodles. Box of noodles, not only are we dealing with carbs and stuff like that, but grain is just not good for you. Grain is high in inflammation and properties and all kinds of shit that just feeds not only your physical health but your mental health in a really bad way. So it's okay to eat, you know, we eat it when, you know, you got to eat a sandwich and shit like that, but, you know, try not to eat pasta all
Just
the
ready,
time,
boy.
right?
What about those noodles that are supposedly made with vegetables, Brad? Are those okay?
Yeah.
I think they're still made with some types of
Well, my thing is just straight
oat
grain.
replacement.
It's still a
Okay.
vegetable. A noodle's still a vegetable, but it's a processed vegetable that probably, because the FDA has some preservatives in it and some other things. You know, sometimes the FDA allows natural preservatives, which is nice. So you don't see a lot of unpronounceable ingredients in your food, but there's still the mixture that doesn't always need to exist if you're just whipping it up fresh yourself, or, you know, something like that. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to get is we grew, what was the number, 20, like a solid 20 spaghetti squash in a
18.
very small space. I think the frame is maybe a 10 by 8. In like a 10 by 8 foot space, we grew 20 spaghetti squash at $5 a piece. I don't do math in public. I don't know what
I don't know. Something. We'll get to it eventually, right?
fucking A. Yeah. So 20. So $100. So $100. And that's not $100 earned, but it might be $100 saved. $100 saved, but it's not just $100 saved, because it's also the fuel that, you know, had to get shipped to move those on. And we don't need to eat them all. That's the cool thing about the spaghetti squash, is that it's easy to preserve. We can toss them like,
You got to save those seeds.
And you're giving it the value of the store too. I mean, that's so much more nutrient dense than what you're going to buy for $2.
I'm only going off of value. You're absolutely right. Most people will immediately jump to value, so that's kind of where I'm going. Now that's the important part, dude, is the nutrient density coming out of the ground, coming out of what I cared for it, and we didn't spray it. That's a real important thing.
Oh yeah,
Things are naturally dying on the vine. The vine's naturally dying. You know, like, we're letting it get consumed is what it's supposed to. It's getting consumed by nature right now. We're not spraying the squash bugs that are existing. You know, we're letting it get consumed. We're going to compost those squash bugs. Same deal with all the fungus and everything. We're not spraying the fungus. You know,
How big is your compost pile now?
Well, right now there's multiple composts throughout the yard.
What do you think? Okay, let me ask Becca, because she's going to give me the honest answer of what we're looking at here.
Yeah. There's different composts.
There's
So the food one, it's actually like really composted right
It's breaking down quick, right?
down really fast, probably because the heat and all the rain, and there's spiders living in there and bugs and everything. And then
Spider
there's like
noises.
a weed one that has seeds that we don't want to spread, so we're like killing them and covering them.
Mhm.
And then there's just plant matter, and they're all kind of full. They're all
Do you guys still have the Hugo gardening going on in that back corner? That should be breaking down real well by now.
Those sticks still exist. I went in there to pull a potato, and there was
Okay.
like, oh, a log. And I was like, all right. So like, and those I'm still kind of like leaving in place. The soil is building on that. That section was built in 2019.
Yeah.
18 was its first, 20, 21. This is like,
four.
again,
Pre-season.
back in public, but this is
I
its
still think
season.
it's supposed to be like 10 years before you see the advantages of Google culture, though. or something like that.
For it
I
to
think-
all break down, maybe, but
Because until then, it's like pulling. It's actually pulling
It's-
a lot to break
It's going
down.
to be disadvantageous at first because it's
Mhm.
going to suck nitrogen with all the carbon. But it retains water, so you get that benefit where you don't really have to water. It's a great dry farming technique. Like, you know, if you're in an area where you don't get a lot of rain, you can't irrigate it, or, you know, you don't want to use a lot of water, use that technique. But yeah, you know, it's going to take a little while. You're going to have to use a lot of like here's the way I would fix that would be to use a lot of grass clippings, because they're going to be really high in nitrogen just off the bat, trying to grow like as much like fucking clover and shit.
do you really follow that like 3
Absolutely.
parts of brown to like 1 part green, or do you just kind of throw it all in there and say fuck it, figure it
kind of
out, just
throw it
don't
all
burst
in
into
there.
flames?
Yeah, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll do a lot of just grass clippings, and really I'm scattering my grass clippings everywhere, because so I'm not making these huge giant hot piles.
Mhm.
I try to do a lot of smaller cold piles. And then I'll select, and a lot of times I'll just go to those areas of grass clippings and I'll use that as mulch. Well, by the time I get to the bottom of that, there's a decent amount of just a little bit of composted material that's already been created. Sometimes I'll just plant right there. That's a good spot to plant something at the bottom of an old compost pile. So I put compost piles kind of everywhere throughout the garden. Right now, I've got a couple like in our pumpkin patch, where I'm pulling just, and this is just grass. This is just strictly grass. There's other areas, like she said, where I have like, I'll pull thistles in like invasive grasses with like a rhizome root, you know, like the root that you just can't get rid of, that type of shit that will spread, along with like dandelion seeds, weed seed, thistle seeds, anything. I'll pick the life cycle away. I'll pick the reproductive cycle away. I won't allow them to reproduce. I'll allow the weeds to grow. I want the root. I want roots in the soil. You know, this is a big discussion that my mama has, and I have. My mom is a master gardener. My mom knows a lot about plants. She could grow a fantastic, amazing garden. But there's a disconnect of information between the master gardener community and the regenerative gardening community, or, you know, the whatever it is, organic community, where we allow these ground covers and some other diversity of plants to exist amongst our normal crops that we're trying to grow. You know, whether or not it's mostly ornamental or whatever the conventional gardener is trying to achieve, a lot of times their suggestion is using a high water soluble fertilizer with a high NPK value, things like that, rather than sourcing. They might even tell you to source good, maybe even worm castings or compost, but they won't tell you to like grow cover crops and make it look the way that a farm can look if you're allowing the diversity to exist. Permaculture looks messy. I mean, there's weeds everywhere. There's ground cover, like we're allowing the old wood chip area to just be overcome with strawberries, and it's acting as a ground cover.
They're growing really quick too.
Clover, and we walk on it, and where we walk, well, they don't grow as high, right? But where we don't walk, they come up, you know. So it all acts as now not just a ground cover, but an actual floor for us to walk on. It's super nice to walk right on.
You know what I believe this
bad.
is, like when you have like a dry patchy spot and then weeds start coming back in, people always get pissed off about that. They're like, I gotta rush out there and throw grass seed. No, leave those fucking weeds alone, because they're bringing nitrogen to the soil. When those break down, they're going to become a mulch layer. Then you can come through and you can outcompete that with the grasses and everything else, man.
You look at the soil as if it has different depths and layers, and every plant exists within a different one of those depths and layers. Some plants reach way down deep into those layers where they're not going to bother. Let's say a lettuce plant, which has a very, very shallow root base, you know, and just stays up here. And especially in compacted soil, like we're dealing with compacted soil and clay. So they're not going down deep. if it was beautiful, healthy soil, I'm sure that the lettuce roots would go 6 feet down, 8 feet down. There's probably no stopping them. Dr. Lang Ingham holds up grasses like 10 feet, with roots. She said grasses with roots like 20 feet down because the soil's that good.
My hostas grew through the fucking big ass compost pile that I had going. And
dude.
now they're growing on top of it and spreading like wildfire. I shared a weird ass mushroom that I seen growing on my property this week, and I wish I was able to bring that up right now, but I did it as a story.
Happened a couple times.
Yeah, that bleeding one was fucking wild as shit, dude, and just popped up, overnight. Because I keep walking my property, I'm looking for amanitas right now because they were out there last year. I had a bunch of really nice size ones, so I'm hoping they come back.
So is that sap coming out? Is just like high sugars coming out of the mushroom?
I have no idea, bro.
I wanted to look more into it.
I just witnessed that shit. Well, Goddess of the Moon told me that I should post that shit to Reddit, and I would get, like an immediate reply. And I posted it, and then I kind of got like, nothing. One dude named something, but I'm not sure if that's what it was. I was hoping that the Reddit mycologist would have overran me with information and startling facts about my find.
Nothing.
It almost looks like that enigma growth or whatever that you get in cubes sometimes or whatever.
It's just, the soil here is so fucking rich with everything because
So
my mother-in-law, she would just let
it-
everything break down.
It for sure had a stem. It wasn't just like.
Let me see if I can do it using my phone. You
couldn't
guys,
see it.
I'll apologize for this in
I
advance.
really couldn't
Okay?
see a stem. It looked like it was kind of
Like a moss.
to the substrate with a web or something like that. It was kind of interesting. But I mean,
Is it going to focus? It might not.
the bottom
that-
is not.
It doesn't have a bottom. It's literally growing on top of a
Okay.
pile.
And
Yeah, I
then
can't
this is the
tell.
video of it.
Just shadowed in or not.
See, that looks just like it's just webbing that's going down to the ground.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering because they do look like puff balls.
Right. That's what she thought it was too at first. I was
No.
like, I don't know, man, but like look at that blood spot on there.
Almost look like lions. But yeah, that's interesting.
So cool.
So interesting shit, man.
They're excreting some sort of an alkaloid. Whatever that alkaloid does to you, we do not know, but it's some sort of an alkaloid for sure. Or maybe it's who knows, terpene or
Oozing.
But when we see it in cannabis, it's just an excess of sugars, right? So that's what I would think that is too.
It's just
Sap.
Shows wand I made.
These things are so cool.
looks like a snake.
This is a root that we snagged
It looks like it snagged you with that shit.
off the AT when we went camping. I tossed some. I don't know if you'll be able
When
to
he says AT, he means the Appalachian Trail. For those that are not initiated, Becca's nodding. Yes.
There's some little
The Smoky Mountains.
stones. Some little stones that I laid in there.
How'd you put those in?
Honestly, I just laid them in and then I epoxied over.
Box it
them.
over that shit. Okay.
Yeah, and then they just make their way in there, and then epoxy dries and hardens on there. And then we got a crystal on there. Got a nice little wrap job.
Wah, wah.
So are you opening up an actual like wand shop at the events now, where we like go in and the wand like chooses us?
Well, what's nice is this sucker's got a little
That'd be
bit of
cool, man.
ergonomics to it too.
It looks
Yeah.
like, do you remember in the old days when they used to have the Guinness Book of World Records and they had that crazy motherfucker that had like the longest fingernails ever from like 40 years and they look like that.
Oh, yeah, I remember that
they look like
picture.
that wand, right? If you had like 4 other
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we were trying to just like make some stuff to remember our vacation because it's, we got engaged and everything. Obviously, we brought home some like, little keepers like this little piece of quartz and stuff like that. That's a fun piece of quartz. We're actually going to put this in a little statue that speaking of the topic, we pulled a piece of trash and it had like this globe in the top. We're going to repaint it and then replace the globe with this quartz stone. But yeah, you know, like
That's crazy.
repurposing shit like that.
Well, I wanted to make a wand or have him make a wand for my little brother who just turned 6. And so this was initially going to be for him,
It was initially going to be for her brother.
but it's really cool. So
I brought a
we got
walking
something
stick
else.
home.
We made him one from a cannabis stock. Very
Yeah,
similar.
I actually took a.
Hey, those outdoor plants are great for that, aren't they?
I wish I had that one sitting here to show too, because yeah, dude, I'm actually saving some more stocks for it. Because that one was
The
really.
next time you
cool.
tackle the AT, you should do it with some fucking Granddaddy Purple fucking main stock or something, man.
Yeah, man. I have actually, that's kind of the purpose for the reason that we didn't top any of the hemp plants that we're growing is I'm trying to get some good, strong, straight, rigid stock. You know, whether to use it for like garden edging or whatever, like it's growing biomass with a purpose. You know what I mean? I like to get as much purpose. Same with the sunflower stalks, the ones that haven't been infected with this fungus. I'm turning into staffs and canes and that kind of stuff. I have one drying from last season and it's lasted all year. Like it actually dried out back outside and it went the whole season. And come this last fall, I started sanding some of the old, you know, leaf nodes and it sanded down nice. And I was like, oh, this sucker is going to be nice. I'm going to hit it with some epoxy and get a real nice sunflower staff off of that bad boy. And I think that that's going to be a cool little project. I'm gonna start saving sunflower staffs for sunflower stalks for staffs. Yeah, so
Georgia Girl Guy said you stole a child's present, Red.
catch some of those.
My little brother, and he's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Loved his. They were both sitting there when we gave it to him, and he was like, he looked at it and was like, really liked it. And then he saw the curvy one. He's like, you should give that one to my mom.
He really liked it. I was like, you'll get it one day. One day when you're old enough not break it. Maybe we'll get it again. He won't appreciate it anymore. But he's a cool kid, man. She's got a really cool little brother. And he loved it too. He was running around. He was playing with it all day. Gave him something to do. I actually had to like create a setting on the cannabis stalk, and that cannabis stalk had been drying for at least a year. Like it's a good solid dried stalk, and filing into it, like it took some, like it was like a solid piece of wood.
Dremel, Red, you need a Dremel.
I like the mechanical stuff, don't get me wrong, but I do prefer a nice little, you know, it's kind of like therapy to sit there.
So do you want the old school brace, you know, like it kind of has the thing and you spin it? And
I like files, dude. Actually, I
have some of those.
I acquired a lot of my grandfather's tools, which includes a couple of those.
Yeah.
Which I'm actually really excited about because I get a chance. I didn't use them for the arbor that I just made just because there is only so many.
You really should show that picture off because that shit is looking really sharp, man. All throughout the day, Red was putting pictures up in chat, and you know, there's the string line, and it's all dug in perfectly. Everything just looks so fucking dress, man. Good shit, Red.
Let me see if
there's
I
a
can
couple
pull...
more steps. We're gonna sand it all and stain it.
Yeah.
Stain it or seal it is a good idea too.
I mean, you can do it. You could go crazy and be as fancy as you want to be, or you could just use linseed oil and fucking turpentine and hook it up that way too. There you go.
Over there.
No plans. That's just a freehand fucking let's get it.
Yeah, I didn't even draw it. I mean, it was going to be a little more simple than that. And I just started going.
So ultimately, what are we going to do with that?
Well, you're going to grow some plants with it?
Yes. Yeah, it's going to act as a trellis arbor. Becca and I are going to unite our vows. Is that what it is?
You're such a dork.
Say our vows.
You're such a dork.
Shall unite our vows.
United, have our vows.
Get married.
Get hitched.
We're gonna have our vows ceremony.
You know what, man? I'm so happy for you guys, man. You guys make a great couple.
Skilbo. I started the garden a good on like the back third of the property, right? The house kind of sits on the front third of the property. That middle third is lawn, and I mean, honestly, it was a pretty long lot. It's about a third of an acre, so it's like the garden took up most of that back portion. You know, a little small portion of the back portion, and then over the years, I've been going back towards the back, right? Well, I have these 2 pine trees that kind of like on either side of my yard, midway back, sat on either side of my yard. And the entire time I've lived here, I said, man, it'd be really cool to have a little fence. They went from pine tree to pine tree, and the entire back half of my backyard would be a garden.
It's happening.
It's taken 5 years.
It's happening.
Slowly, it's morphing into that. You know, it's I don't want to speak in absolutes, but
how many smoke breaks do you guys get in a day during all this fucking heavy lifting and manual labor?
Oh, they're smoking the whole time while they're doing it.
yeah, but not when I'm working out front. I really can't. Yeah, dude, a lot of times it takes so long to sit here and roll a joint, get any of that shit.
That's what I'm saying, man. You got to take those self-care breaks.
I smoke 3 in the morning.
We do.
It takes
That's it.
forever to get up and going.
Well, that's because I'm smoking 5 joints before I fucking think about moving.
Relatively speaking, 3 to 5, depending on
There you
what's going on.
Depends on what I'm trying to get worked up for to do, right?
Or how early.
Oh, this is gonna suck today. I'm just gonna roll one more real quick. And then we
Usually,
finish
if
that
I'm
one.
like, I'm up, yeah,
Take one more just to make sure.
if I'm up super early, it's that I got time for one more. If I get up late, there's not much time in the day. I get up and get moving.
Do you see Georgia Grow Guy's comment, right?
Yeah, exactly. Sanding some cannabis and enjoy peach cobbler. That's exactly what's going on.
Yeah, man.
Really trying to just take what we can get out of the land and turn it into something of a value that we could see has, and maybe somebody else would see, and they'd want to share their income with
Bounty.
us. Yeah, and you know, and purchase what we have for
You know, that's how fur traders used to make a living, Red.
Was it?
Yeah. You just fucking go out on the land and find shit that people wanted and bring it back.
Bring it back.
And then they would sell it for gold.
Sell it for what people had. And I mean, I would even say that I'd be willing to say, you know, if somebody was like,
I thought you were going to say you need to go over to Painted Lady's house and catch those chipmunks and start making a trapping fucking move with them.
yeah, I don't know if I
trapping.
could bust out any of those kind of types of jobs. I thought about, I was like, all right, so that's another thing. But really, I want to, you know, talk about was just like the type.
We're getting to the topic at 11.
Capital, man. It's not really a topic. The topic is the moon, man. It's a good time to plant seeds, and doing so, it's very freeing. You know, it's freeing to plant in so many ways, and that's one form of capital, is because you save a little bit of money, like planting, but there's a knowledge behind it, right? Knowledge, form of capital, whatever. I'm not going to get too deep into that. But you know, creating that arbor, okay, making that arbor. I saw a couple designs online, you know, saw whatever, how
Did you
much.
go on Pinterest?
Of course yeah, I mean, you go.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I was on Pinterest.
Usually I'll just, I'm still boomer, dude. I Google something and hit the images button and just see what pops up.
Dude, that's what I fucking do. Don't call that shit boomer. Come on now.
What the fuck? I do that too.
I Google image and then scroll and then see what pops up. I do that with colors, I do that with all kinds of shit.
Well, because websites suck, Red. You know what I mean?
They told us you can't find shit. So I thought, you know, the imagery, find it. And then so I'd find some designs, dude, they're $1,500, $2,500, you know, some, you know, and I see, you know, and I'm not done with it. I still need to put a top on it. And we're gonna make a gate because the whole yard is gonna be gated off from the dog and other critters. So but you know, $2,500, whether or not I saved any money or you know, whatever it is, that's not the point. It's almost like, it's kind of like we made $1,500. You know what I mean? Because
I can see that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we kind of just made 50. We were in the need for something.
It's going to be cool though, because you guys built that shit together. And you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
totally.
That's what makes it sweet. And rather
Totally.
than just having some dude come over and throw that piece of shit up on the yard, like, okay, we're done. You're like, well, you guys didn't really do a good job. It's not really level and it's not to my exacting standards. And I'm the one that's going to look at it for the next 20 years. So
I got a chance
I'm
to
gonna do it
be the
myself.
owner of that fucking thing.
He's done 98% of it.
It doesn't matter. You've worked on it together.
Yeah. She was.
You always try to, you know what, Becca? You never give yourself credit, man. You always try to short
I don't
sell
need
all your
all the
efforts,
credit.
man.
She
I
helped.
don't
She
need all of
helped
it.
me get that fucker put into place. She knows she helped out. It was.
2%.
I mean,
you know how Becca helps out? She goes, whoa, wait a minute. Don't wait. That's not right. Hold on. And then he goes, oh yeah, okay, you're right. So
she
she's
did
totally
too.
helping out, man. She's saving you
She
time.
did too.
From the
And
teardown.
you know, we were talking about inflation and shit, and the price of wood has gone up, man. And if you got a contractor,
Again?
well, no, but you know, like originally when it went up and everybody panicked the price of wood, and a lot of people still have that opinion that the price of wood's high, and it's not that bad. The material cost was $150. The price of those Douglas fir posts were like $15. They were like $15 for
how long were they?
4x4 8-footer.
That's
That's not bad. It's untreated and it's straight as an arrow. It was solid, man. And we got treated 4x4s for $11. Oh, they're like $11.99. They were
That's
cheap as hell, dude.
But you didn't need 10 footers for that. You just use 8s.
Just use 8-footers because I'm not. And honestly, it came out to being, by the time I sunk it in the hole, it came out to being as tall as the fence posts.
It's tall.
As tall as the fence posts that we're working with.
Am I gonna hit my head on this shit?
No, it's about 7.
Probably like right here, like pow.
11 everybody on the full moon if you want to.
Let's bring hash time for that. Hash time for the full moon and
It was going to be a little bit smaller, and Mama Red talked him into making it a little bit bigger. but
Yeah,
it's
it was
definitely
gonna have the
worth
same
it.
height, and she did talk me to make it bigger, and I'm totally happy about
It looks really good. Really good.
it.
oh yeah.
I will tell that maybe I shouldn't say this. Hopefully the price of wood won't go up on my our small little following of show.
What are you EF Hutton when you speak,
I don't
everybody
know.
listens?
Yeah.
Even the fucking wood cartels.
Should I speak such slander?
Old
of
people know that
logging
joke.
company? So dude, my eye is starting to roll.
I see, man. It's got the burn going, man.
Let's see here.
It sucks when that happens, man. It's so annoying.
Rough cedar. I don't
Maybe
know
the
how
smoke
much it
is
was.
making it dry.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know how much it was, like a linear foot, but those 1x8 footers were $45 a piece. What we did the top with, and that was
Yeah.
a 8-footer. I didn't cut anything off the ends. It's 8 feet wide end to end. The posts are 6 feet center on, or 6 feet on center.
You did a little fancy design on
Little
yours.
fancy designs, but I still kept it at that 8 feet. It's still at that edge.
Yeah,
So
saves you from
that's a
fucking sawing shit.
$45 board. And I was like, well, it's pretty much that and a whole bunch of like trimming pieces. So I'm like looking at the different size rough cedar that's also, like a 1x4x8 was like $15.
Mhm.
And a 1x6x8 was like
Ooh.
$20 or $25. And I'm like, I'm gonna have to rip all of these into trim pieces anyway. So I'm thinking
Do you
about
have a table saw?
I have a table saw, I have a miter
This
saw.
fucking guy, he's got
I
like
have-
every fucking thing.
I do. Well, dude, I built my
have a
grow
cleaner?
shop. I built all of that. And prior to that, I
Cheers
had
for Growley.
worked on my
For
house.
Growley, my
I had
house.
a cheers for Growley. Cheers.
Aw.
I
All the rest of you.
haven't said hi to anybody. I don't
No, you haven't said shit to anybody.
and so like I doing some work here, but I mean, what was it, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when
The
my
building.
family and we bought the barn and I started building grow rooms. It was more of an investment to do all of the work myself. So I purchased, it was more of an investment for me to do, buy the tools, because that's gonna not only is that tool going to be good for that job, but that tool is going to be good for another job in the future and in the future. And it's that again will hold out for, get a good tool. It's a lifetime almost. So
Mhm.
get the tools, a long time ago, man. So fortunately I didn't have to put much spending. I needed a a hand saw, a circular saw. Daddy Red has plenty. I could have borrowed. I'm sure he could have even given me
Get the
one.
modern one that has the laser on it and shit. You know what I mean? It's just so
I
much
just
easier.
I just got one. We ended up taking back a whole bunch of shit to Menards because some other projects that we had laying around. So go back there, get a couple fucking store credits, get a bunch of other stuff. So I did buy a tool and I did use it too because I needed a hand saw to cut the lattice. I probably could have cut it with the table saw, but I really like using the guide when I'm using the table saw.
Mhm.
So I tried cutting like smaller shit on a table saw.
You know what? If you have a table saw, it behooves you to build jigs and shit. You know what I mean? Like a crosscut sled and everything else.
Yeah, dude. So it was really easy for me to whip that stuff up. So, anyways, having a table saw and being able to create my own trim, and I wasn't stuck with the size boards that you're stuck with that they sell, 1x4, 1x6, 1x8. So I'm thinking about this and I'm going, well, if I'm gonna rip it anyway, I might as well, knowing that the landscaping department has cedar fencing. Those are not a 5 now a 1-inch board is not an inch thick. It's usually like 5/8 of an inch. It's usually a 5/8
3/4
or 3/4. Yeah,
Yeah.
if it's good, it's 3/4. Yeah, 3/4. And so these fencing, it's a 1/2 inch thick. Okay, and it's dead on a 1/2 inch, but it's a 1/2 inch thick. So you are missing out on a 1/4 inch of a thickness on the board. But if you're using it for trim or anything like that,
Mhm.
that fencing material, you can find nice straight pieces, and it's all cedar.
So where are you
can
getting
find
this from? Are you just stealing panels from the city? Is that
the
what you did?
landscape? No, you go to the landscaping department of whatever store that you're getting your lumber
Okay.
store.
All right.
And you know where the fences are.
Yeah.
And you slide them through the fence and have it back
You
up,
go-
pull the truck
you go
up.
to the-
You
you
well,
go
you
to
know what that's
the-
called?
You go to the fencing. you
Abolish.
go to
It's called the
fencing,
Midnight Lumber
and
Yard, where
there's-
everything's free after the fucking everybody goes home.
there's 1x6 panels of fencing, and that fencing is usually cedar, because cedar's weather resistant, and they'll you can get untreated wood. If you find untreated wood outside, it's probably cedar, and that's usually where you find that shit. You'll find it outside untreated, and that's good old cedar. So I got me 6 of those.
Good old
What was it?
cedar.
It was $35. I got 6 1/2 inch by 6 feet long by 6 inches wide, for like $36. Rather
Red,
than
have you ever seen the Harbor Freight
a
sawmill?
third of a linear foot, a fifth of a linear foot. What song? The
Have you ever
Harbor-
seen a Harbor Freight sawmill?
Harbor Freight sawmill?
Yeah.
Like
Like you take
like a-
felled lumber and you have like it's like a bandsaw, right?
okay, that's
It's
what
on this. It's on a track,
okay, all right.
and so
Yeah.
you
I
just.
was
It's a,
wondering if you meant like a factory that you would like go to
Nope.
visit, or like okay,
nope. It's a portable
Harbor
sawmill.
Harbor Freight sawmill.
So if Red's property was wooded, you totally know that he would have invested in this fucking sawmill.
Oh,
and-
dude, yeah, I'd
and
have a
just
sawmill.
totally taken all these trees down.
Yeah,
and-
100%. 100%. I think that's one. I think if you have trees on your property, that's one of the best investments you can make is some kind of a mill, whether it's a jig that you put on a chainsaw. Have you seen those?
No, but
Yeah,
I probably need
chainsaws.
to since I have. When I had the dudes out last summer to take some trees down, right? I asked this guy, he's been a tree guy for like 40 years. I said, how many trees do you think I have on this property? And he was like, oh, you have every bit of 40,000 trees on this property. Every bit of it, probably more than that.
Fuck.
I said, what? He goes, oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Cause I took him for a walkthrough. So,
Dude, can I
There's-
borrow one or two?
dude, you can come by any
I'll
fucking
give it
time.
back in the form of a whittled sculpture for you.
There you go. Come by. I got a bunch of fucking oak that's already been seasoned and drying for a year if you want to fuck with that too.
Oh yeah, dude. No, that's awesome. No, seriously.
Yes, that would be awesome.
If you do have like trees and stuff like that, you can get jigs for a chainsaw that basically gives you need to use a straight edge to start. But
Right.
once you have that straight edge, all of the other 4 sides come in line because you're like running it on this
Right. I got you.
like stencil basically. They're super cool, super easy looking, like basically just mounts to any chainsaw, and then it runs a straight line like down your, it keeps I think it like keeps a 90 or something like that while you're trying to run it.
I
So
was telling my wife last week, I said, we need to buy a fucking bobcat. So like if I can get like a bobcat for like $16,000 or some shit, right? Buy a bobcat and then use this motherfucker to completely do all this landscaping and all this shit around here for a season and burn the hell out of it and then turn around and sell it the season after for $16,000. Saves you so much on like rental fees and all that shit, man. When I first, well, even before we moved here and I was starting to clear the woods out, because there used to be old snowmobile trails back there in the 70s and 80s. I had this bobcat, and I had so much dead wood that had not been attended to in like 12, 13 years at that point. I just put the blade down about 8 inches from the ground and then just punched it, just floored it through there and just knocked all these trees down. And such a fucking mess, man. There's just so much work to do with that shit when you have so many trees. And here's the other thing, man. When you have a lot of trees, a lot of people like to have bonfires and stuff like that, but it is super dry out. I know we've had a little bit of rain this week, man, but these really dry heat temperatures and shit, man, the last thing you want to do is catch your fucking woods on fire. Unless that's your thing, and then you're hoping to make like biochar or something, and then Godspeed to you. But, you know, you got to make sure you control the oxygen feed to that if you're trying to get the real biochar.
Only you can prevent forest fires.
Only you, Smokey. Only you. Shit, I'm careful as fuck when I'm out there in the woods smoking weed. Like, ooh, I make sure I put that shit out before I put it down.
Yeah, man.
sorry, I'm messaging my sister-in-law at the moment.
Are you asking about the Harbor Freight sawmill as a wedding gift?
At 11:20 at night.
Yo, I just had this great idea. Cheers, Chad. I'm so glad that you guys are still hanging out with us, man. As you can see, we are pretty much topic free. Red says we're talking about the moon, and I guess we kind of are, but you know, it's polarity science. It's got late sesh vibes.
I really wanted to talk about sovereignty through growing your own food and medicine. Yeah, mainly because
That's the topic then. Okay.
Yeah, because it's a good time to plant seeds, being the super moon. I'd get into a bunch of woo-woo stuff, but we do anyways.
Not the woo-woo.
Yeah, I mean the plan wasn't around the woo. The plan was around the food
tides.
sovereignty. Just the, you know, create the sovereignty of creation, you know, the ability to do so, because in a lot of ways we have it. In a lot of ways we don't. In a lot of ways we are restricted. Like I was talking about, you know, the simple municipality code ordinance restrictions against, you know, laying cardboard in my backyard, or having chickens. Dude, I could go on. I haven't hit water yet. I'm not sure. I'm sure a lot of our viewers are affected by the water thing, especially if they live in the West. We don't get affected that bad because we have such an abundance of aquifers. However, dude, if you watch Skilbo, you were talking about in the chat the other day, you look at all the shit going on with Lake Mead and many
yeah,
Salt Lake, tons of others.
Well, fucking Nestle is already fucking pulling water out of the Great Lakes.
You have that is a small reason. You have Nestle pulling from the Great Lakes.
Then
but eventually
pollution.
some of these lakes are going to get to the point where they won't be able to. Now, here's the thing. The west of the United States at one time was desert land, and it's, you know, it still is if you don't take into account, you know, unnatural fertigation, right? What we're doing is we're taking reservoir water and we're putting it into people's lawns, which is fine if you can pay for it, you know, whatever, but nonetheless, it doesn't go very far. It might go into, it doesn't really hit aquifers, right? It gets ran off back into the reservoirs and shit like that. It's being used up a lot. It's being used up even more. I don't know if there's industry using it up, what's using it up, if it's too hot and it's all evaporating and it's coming back down in the east. I don't know what's going on, where the water's going, but eventually it's going to get to a point, probably in the not so distant future, to where they're going to need to start funneling fresh water from other places. I just don't think that the West, that desert area, I don't think that the Colorado Rockies that supply basically the watershed that comes from the Colorado Rockies supplies fresh water to the entire, all of like the West almost, you know,
That
well,
is the Mississippi,
Southwest.
right?
If you follow the Colorado River and
To
you
Arizona,
go any of those
New
giant
Mexico.
cities that go off of the Colorado River, which are most of the West Coast of the United States, you're talking about a large population of the, you know, and that's what's happening. The cities are growing, people are living out there, and you know, whatever, there's availability for them to do so. But that's what's happening is I don't think that natural system that occurred, you know, was meant to sustain all of the humans that now live there, you know, and that feed off of it, whether or not.
Well, there's also all of the water that's used
you know,
to grow all of the food out there too.
Yeah,
You know,
and it's consumed, and well, the water
there's
that's
the runoff that's from
so-
that is contaminated. You know?
exactly. They're using large conventional forms of agriculture, high rates. Most of that farmland is single crop. You know, high volume single crop. What I got here? I got like a mayfly or some shit just kicking it in here. Get out of here.
Tell them it's August and get gone.
It's something that needs to be addressed because water wars are going to become a real issue in the immediate future. Like, there's not enough fresh water to keep doing the kind of shit that we're
Skilbo
doing.
made a good point that they'll start funneling from the Great Lakes.
Oh, and the Mississippi as well.
The Mississippi, right.
Right. But then this week or last week, we had an issue in Sarnia where we had a diesel spill and they said, oh, it's contained. But you know what, man? That's all it's going to take is one fucking environmental disaster on the Great Lakes and we're fucked too.
Right.
So, you know, I'm not saying that we as the little fucking guy, as the citizens, that we have all this power and we can make change. It's just be grateful for what we have right now and be aware that there are other interests out there that want to take that shit away from you.
Don't forget about the big elephant that does sit in the room, that sits over there in the corner. There, we have like 22 or 52. We have a high number of reactors, nuclear reactors in the Great Lakes for energy, which it's a great form of energy. Problem is you can't shut them down, and they do fall out if they're not maintained properly. That's my big gripe with them, is that they're incredibly hazardous. They produce generally very efficient electricity and energy, but we have a lot of them surrounding our state, and that's, you know, so all of them are always forever going to exist in one way or another. Not gonna be able to get rid of them, and they're going to have to be maintained continuously almost forever. And this is just, you know, that's surrounds our state, whether it's on the United States soil or in Canada. They're on both sides, you know, but there's a lot of them. Is there a reason why? Well, the water. It's the water. They use the water to cool the reactors, so we have a large volume of water that they can use.
Well, I think this is where psychedelics can really come in handy for people, is to, you know, I'm not going to hit you with the Timothy Leary shit, but I will say this, that you talk to people every single day, even if it's just online, even if you are, you know, semi-isolated out there. And you just have to try to find the oneness in shit, man. And, you know, how impermanent everything is and how fragile it all is. And then just, you know what I mean? Do the best that you can. You can't affect big change, but you can try to affect your own change. Damn, George Guy says, I heard Cali produces 2/3 of the fruits and nuts. That is not a joke.
I absolutely believe that.
Damn, 1/3 of all the vegetable production in the U.S. domestic production. They need water and salt. Yeah, man. So it's like, you know, we can't keep doing things the way we've been doing things. You know, we as a society are racing towards an edge, and we got to fucking slow down. And I'm not saying that one side has the answer and the other side doesn't. What I'm saying is that, you know, I read something today and they were talking about Mars. dude, fuck Mars. Mars isn't going to help anybody. That's a pipe dream.
Saying that.
We have to worry about what the fuck is going on here. You can't just go outward and just mine shit forever.
Yeah.
Life is fragile, and each and every single person does matter. That's not just some hullabaloo or smoke up your ass. Nobody matters more than anybody else does, man.
If we're gonna go into space for anything right now, we need to go out there and hit an asteroid and get the minerals out there so we can stop fighting over shit.
Well, we're still going to be racing through materials all the same. Those are finite as well. So it just perpetuates the same thing.
Oh no, we hit one of those, Skilbo. We're not going to have issue with minerals.
Well, here's the thing: is we as a species existed for 298,000 years, predating the current era, and we did it all without the majority of the things that you would consider a modern convenience. Even if you go back 2,000 years and you think about technology of 2,000 years ago, guess what? The species even older than that. So go back 298,000 years. People were doing it then. So you don't have to fucking mine the shit out of everything and exploit everybody.
No. And I think that you don't have to like kill everything either. Like little weeds that pop up in your driveway. Yeah, I'll go out there and I'll hand pull them, stuff like that.
But you're not going out there fucking spraying glycophosphates on them and shit, and then that's running into the storm drains.
Right, it goes in the storm drain. I've been thinking about it more and more lately, about the storm drains and about the what's on the
watersheds. Yeah.
Like so, and I'm hitting the button on my windshield wiper trying to get the bugs off, and I'm squirting this fucking thing 5 or 6 times, and the water's just not water, the windshield wiper fluid, whatever the fuck that chemical is, that agent, that cleans bugs and shit off your windshield, you probably shouldn't drink or consume, goes flying off, and I'm just all over the road, and whether or not the water portion of it evaporates, I'm sure there's some oil bit and there's something that's down there. And if all of the chemical is evaporating, that's fucked. You know what I mean? So this is me. This is my one car squirting a bunch of times trying to fucking clean my windshield. Flat ass fucking windshield. Think of how many Jeeps are out there.
You know what's not fucking helpful? What's not helpful is people who feel a lot of guilt and shame, like individually, like, oh, I should have done this to save this extra square of toilet tissue. Like, I get that, but that's not what the issue is.
No, that's not the issue.
There's kind of man. Well, what it goes back to, Red, is it's like a sickness, man. And that kind of sickness is something that, maybe some hallucinogenics, maybe some microdosing, maybe, some paradigm shifting could help. And that's why I'm really happy with, there are more and more places that are considering putting this on for a vote. Just like with cannabis, more and more states are going towards an adult usage. They're finally leaping head first into the 21st century. Welcome aboard. Let people use these things as tools, just as you would a table saw or a fucking nail gun or anything else to accomplish a project.
Proper tools for the proper
job. Don't forget to wear safety glasses, Red. Whenever you take those, make sure you have. It goes for mushrooms too, man. You never know. You can poke yourself in the eye or something. I
should have been wearing safety glasses when I was fucking around with the concrete. I feel like fucking around with the concrete was the irritating factor that
to your eye
got this sty popping.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I didn't wash myself properly after fucking around all day and doing the concrete, dude. I crashed and just went to bed, man. I should have fucking showered it all off, and I did.
Well, because you're out there working like you're still 22 years old. You got to fucking shift gears, homie. You got to come out of that second gear and shift into third, or maybe take those RPMs into fourth.
No, not gonna happen.
You got a little nephew you can hire or something?
I do, dude. I totally have a couple nephews I can hire. I enjoy. I get a lot of I don't know, self gratification out of getting some shit done and doing it old school back labor style. Simple tools. I try not to have I don't use a leaf blower. I use a.
You know what I wish I could rent?
And there's gonna be a day when I can't do all this manual labor, man. And
that's what I'm saying, Red. I wish I could rent a back for like a month.
Dude, yeah.
Just rent like a good spine for like a month, and I would go at it hammering fucking tongs, and I'd be Gucci. But
there-
alas, that's not possible, right?
there's one thing that I believe. I don't believe in scarcity. I believe in there's one thing that I believe that we have scarcity in, and that's our time in this realm, the time that we exist in. We have a finite amount of time with each other here, doing whatever the fuck it is that we do. We have a little finite little blip. So I try to make things meaningful, whatever, even if
Dude,
it's
I
work.
seen this back in the 90s. I used to be like a big PBS nerd, and I used to watch all the fucking stuff on Nova and shit. Shout out to PBS and Nova, because that shit was fascinating for 30 years now. And they showed an illustration of like you as your generation, and then behind you they had like a silhouette of a person, and then that was like your mom and dad, and then behind that would be your grandparents, and then behind that was the great grandparents. And they started showing how many generations it's been since the species began, and it was fucking mind-boggling how many silhouettes they just kept going and going and going and going, and you're like, holy fuck, man. Like, I exist because somewhere along the line nobody fucked up.
I think about that shit all the time, Skilbo.
I'm welcoming a
Especially-
granddaughter in probably around Halloween. I'm super fucking excited. So you know what? The beat goes on.
Yep. I thought about it more and more at the beginning of COVID because I was going through a lot of mortality shit. But I was thinking about my great grandma who came over here in like 1919, like almost a year after the world flu that occurred, the first pandemic, the pandemic of 1818 or whenever it was. I was like, wow, I wonder if that
Spanish
sparked
flu?
1918.
or
Yeah, the Spanish
1918.
flu.
I'm sorry, 1918. Yeah, whichever time the Spanish flu went around, 1918. I was wondering if that pandemic was a catalyst for her coming. Actually, I'm wearing a Malta shirt, coming here from Malta. If that was one of the catalysts, but I was thinking like she survived that, because she survived that was, a thing. And in 4 generations ahead of her, in whatever the hell that they were doing on that island, they're at war with fucking who knows, Chaldeans were there one time. All kinds of different cultures have been coming through, the Spanish, the French, the Italians. Everybody has come and tried to seek dominance on the Maltese Islands. Who knows what type of nationality I really am, because of all the different cultures that have tried to dominate those islands in the past. And whatever people that are natives, what they've been through, that go through all of that. But even still, like here in this country, whatever country, all of us, people have been at war, people have gone through famine, people have gone through hunger, people have gone through periods of growth and abundance. You know what I mean? I think that's where we're all going through always. It's just ebbs and flows of abundance, and right now we're hitting one of those. I don't know if it's a real scarcity thing or what's going on right now, but there's a lot of shit going on, man, and a lot of it's coming. They're focusing on food. We're focusing on a lot of stuff, man. The stuff going on overseas right now. Some of our viewers might be dealing with the farmers on strike, some shit like that.
You know what? It doesn't matter what you're dealing with. Everybody that is listening to us right now, everyone has their own private struggle that they're dealing with. Sometimes it's a matter of change. Sometimes it's a matter of fear of change. Sometimes it's a matter of growth. Sometimes it's constriction. Sometimes it's friction. It doesn't matter. But everybody out there is dealing with something. And hopefully you found a way to healthily cope with that. Maybe it's cannabis. Maybe it's mushrooms. Maybe it's some blotter. Maybe it's meditation. Maybe it's walking in the woods. Maybe it's just fucking hanging out and rolling a joint and saying hey to everybody that's in chat, just to kind of do that little mental health check-in for ourselves.
Yeah,
I love you fuckers, man. You guys make these shows worth it. Yeah, we're just hanging out and we're talking and shit, but like,
that's not where I'm going. I see what you're doing. I'm not going doom and gloom though. That's not where I'm going. No, you're trying to save me. I'm not dooming and glooming.
I'm trying to say we've done enough shows together, right?
No, I'm trying to say that you can. We all have that ability to like start our own little small food forests and ecosystems, or find a neighbor or a family member to help them do it, or whatever, or support someone else who's doing
Share
it.
your bounty.
Yeah,
Share your
exactly.
knowledge.
Exactly. And just work it out, because the reason that all of this crap exists in the first place is that monoculture way of thinking, that oneness. I don't know, like, I guess the best example I have is what's going on right now, being forced, to not use nitrogen fertilizer or whatever's going on is causing a lot of farmers that were already struggling to like struggle. And that's because they don't really know other forms of growing food that we as regenerative farmers know exist through the form of regenerative agriculture or through the form of permaculture. It exists at small scale, but we've seen with Dr. Elaine Ingham do some work that it can exist large scale to where you don't need chemical fertilizers. And so I mean, like, to have that knowledge is like to really, really be grateful, to know that you can just take something as simple as like what already naturally grows, which is bacteria, certain weeds or whatever, and utilize that little bit of biology, life. We were talking about the life that selflessly gives itself to us. And the reason that I don't like, I get worked up when I kill a plant because I'm going to dry it to smoke it, or we're going to harvest an animal because we're going to eat it, or that I do remain a carnivore over going vegan or vegetarian, as much as I know how much going vegan is better on, the farming system. I think that that's just because it has to do with the way that the farming system exists. I don't think that going vegan is necessarily better for overall health. Now, having a little bit of meat in my diet, I would rather my meat be sustainably grown, sustainably sourced, and, grown with ethics that do include, best practices
You
for
only
the
want to eat
animal.
ethical turkeys?
Yeah, ethical turkeys, man.
Do
Ethically
they need to
grown.
be like registered with the
Wild.
bar and all
I
that?
would prefer
In good
wild
standing?
game. I would prefer more people to be able to register and sell their wild game as sovereign
Becca doesn't look like
adults.
she wants to eat wild game, Red. Look at her.
As an adult, I don't think you're allowed to sell your wild game. I think it all has to go through the FDA to be sold. You
Right
could
on.
gift it probably and do some stuff like that, but it'd be nice to be able to just freely, hunt some turkey or hunt some quail or something.
Well, it
like
used to be like Michigan was huge when I was a kid for pheasants, dude. Like they were
Yes,
fucking
dude.
everywhere, man.
Yeah.
And then they got wiped out by that disease, and that was a wrap.
Yeah, not a lot of pheasant. I don't see them anymore. I never kicked any out. I see quail here and there still. But I do think that there's a cycle of life where animals eat animals. I mean, I don't think that it's normal for them to do it, but I mean, even in
You know what though?
like,
Plants eat animals too, though, Red.
cannibalism, and plants eat animals, and
Yeah,
animals
it's
eat
the law of the
plants,
cycle, man.
and animals that eat plants also eat animals. My dog will eat meat and he'll eat fruits and vegetables. I mean, he's a total omnivore. He'll munch around on some berries.
Why is he so quiet tonight?
He's passed
He's
out.
whooped, dude. We've been
Did you take him outside all day with you? No, that's why.
He's an old dog, man. He's
Mhm.
a lot.
Sleeps a lot.
So
He
does
was outside
Kaiser.
all day yesterday. I couldn't get him inside. He stayed outside all day. When he does a good day outside, he wears him out for like 2-3 days. If we go to the farm for a couple of days, go to the cottage, he's out for like 2 or 3 days. Easy. It's all kinds of worked out. But yeah, man, it's gratifying being able to, supplement yourself with something that you
That's how I feel right now, dude. When I look at these outdoor plants, I mean, I don't have the vegetable garden going that you do, but I'll be honest with you. Shout out to old man Herman Hash. I am still smoking the fucking Leica from outdoor. And I was like super smart before I moved. Once all that shit was dried and cured around January, I went through with my vacuum sealer and I vacuum sealed all of those tall ball jars, man. And I never cracked the top on them until I opened them now. So when I open them, it's like
Uh-huh.
the same fucking thing.
Dude. What kind
And
of,
I got more of those infinity jars too, man. So I'm really
Sweet.
fucking happy with these. The same ones that Sequence gave us for Christmas a couple years ago. So I had some headlights from 2 years ago. And I was rummaging around. I was like, man, I want to smoke something different. I was looking for some GMO, and I still haven't found that jar yet. So, but I came across the infinity jar, and it had some headlights, and I was like, shit, this is still fucking got the flavor, man. You know, sometimes after a while, you know, if you don't have them in like a really well sealed jar, you kept the shit in the light, or you know, whatever, it just kind of starts to get that like, yeah, it's weed, but it doesn't have those signature fucking things anymore.
Speaking of jars, check that one out, Skilbo. That
Hey,
actually had some headlights in it back in the day.
That's an old jar right there, man.
That's cool.
Yeah, man.
Well, dude, there's just such an abundance coming out of such a small little space back here. I'm blown away when I go drive around. We go for bike rides. We failed this week again, man. We haven't gone bike ride in the last like couple weeks. We usually go on trash night just to like go like see if there's some random shit in the neighborhood. I grabbed a brand new pallet yesterday. Went for a drive trying to charge up the battery on the Grand Am. Went to like fucking moving in the street so I can do some.
Did you just throw the pallet on top of the roof and have Becca hold one side and you held the
No,
other?
I came back. I came back and I grabbed the truck and I went through it. Dude, a pallet fits in the back of the Bronco with no
We
problem.
carried
Super
a couple drawers, big wood drawers.
Big wooden
back on
drawers,
the bike.
solid wood drawers. Like,
Oh, that's why you haven't gone for a ride lately. You're like, fuck that shit.
and yeah, probably.
One time it was a huge pot.
couple
two
big
times it
pots.
was-
You know what you guys need to get is one of those little kitty
Got
like
drawers.
the kitty trailer that goes on there, so then Red can throw all of his junk in there.
Yeah. Actually, the drawers might be big enough to go on the side of that trellis. I don't know. Put in little garden pots. So you can use them as garden beds.
There you
Because
go.
guess what? We've got those drawers, and now we don't have to make garden beds. I got
Yeah,
them pre-made.
They're really cool ones that we found, and they're solid wood, and
Yeah, solid wood, man.
they have some cool knobs on them and everything.
They're stained, so whatever.
You know what the knobs are for is to tie shit to, man.
The flowers in them.
You know what I mean? Use that as an LST point.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna cut the bottoms out of
Yeah.
them and just like lay them.
Give them like
Yeah.
2
Their
years.
stuff,
Let all that
soil.
stain get decomposed into. I think it's like you can get an organic certificate after like 3 years of being on property as long as you do all your shit right. So I'd imagine that as long as that shit sits out there and decomposes for 3 years, I think that all that stain would
I bet the
not
sun will
be-
bleach it.
that's exactly what it does. The sun on the wood and the microbes and the enzymes in the soil,
We're just gonna
like,
go grow flowers.
take
in
care
them
of
for a
it,
couple years.
so to speak.
It'll be fine. It's not like they're edible flowers.
They're not edible. Yeah, well, I mean, some might be.
Well, it is red. So, Red's going to be eating buds and carnations and all kinds of other wild ass shit, whatever could happen to grow there.
I
I bought some
believe-
black eyed Susans
I
today.
believe in the uptake. I believe in the uptake of the metals and stuff like that. I also, I don't know.
What is it, like the poisoning theory? Like if you
In the,
take
it's
a little
out
bit of
there
snake
in the
poison every
soil.
day, when you finally do get bit, you build up the antibodies to it.
People are afraid to like eat food that they grow in their backyard because there's like, isn't there arsenic in the soil? There's arsenic in the soil. Like, yeah, there's arsenic in the soil. There's all kinds of shit. in the
There's
soil.
lead in the soil too.
Lead in the soil. There's all kinds of shit in the soil. But I mean, I don't know. There's there's an ebb and flow to nature. You have to.
I have a theory that the
Oh.
great dumbing down of America is due to so much fucking latent lead in the soil over a fucking span of like 70 years.
They shut down a park that I frequently. Well, I worked there for a long time. They shut it down because there's too much lead in the
And the paint.
baseball and the baseball.
So did the little league field where I played, Red. It's just
Well,
fucking covered in lead because it
yeah,
was
but
right at
that
the end of a
was-
big brass
Yeah,
place.
it was a ball field, dude. So was it an
Yeah.
old trash dump that went in the 50s? Probably. Look at the history of that old lot.
Was the name of that fucking sandlot Mount Trashmore?
No, that one's over by me on Westland. There's,
Trashorama?
Canton's got like 2 of them. There's
Trashatorium?
between Canton and Belleville, right between Michigan
Mhm.
Ave and 94. There's a huge trash hill, and
I
then
know
there's
where that's
one
at.
almost parallel to that, like laterally, but at 275.
There's a
like
huge
between
one in Flint.
12. and 94 also. These things are massive. I think that's what, isn't that what Pine Knob, what's next to Pine Knob used to be?
I don't know.
Mount Brighton used to
the
be
ski
a big
hill.
trash mountain.
I think
Thinking of Mount Brighton.
one too. I think Mount
Mount
Brighton
Trashmore.
also. Yeah, Mount Trashmore. Yeah.
Well, you know what's funny is you can always tell when they are because you'll see like one big PVC pipe coming out like an old timey,
Yeah. I think,
you know, like smokestack. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so the shit doesn't catch on fire. You know?
Sure.
But just
I wanted
definitely go
275
sledding
for
down
years.
there.
I wanted them to turn into a ski resort because I lived right by it. I was like, dude, that thing needs to be a ski mountain. It's fucking. How much bigger can they make that thing? The thing's been there my entire life.
And
I can't
doesn't
believe
break
I've
down.
watched that thing get bigger and bigger and bigger my entire life, dude. It's so much garbage. So interesting on the same sort of a topic, and I actually wanted to talk about this in stream. We're actually talking
The
about
international
trash.
garbage business.
Yeah, I do some statistic. Again, I heard third party. I don't know, some like crazy high number, like 60 or 80%. That's a wide range I'm giving. But more than 50
Well, 60 or 80% of what? 10 or
Building
fucking
material.
5,000.
of trash. 50 or 80% of the like mass that is in landfill is building materials. You know, whether it's coming out of old projects, new projects, or whatever. A lot of it probably new projects too. When you think about when builders build new homes, a lot of that scrap material that ends up just going in the dumpster. That shit just goes to the landfill.
Well, thankfully they grind up concrete and shit again and reuse that stuff rather than throwing it in landfill.
Speaking of, I got wood mulch that does say 100% recycled wood mulch. It doesn't say what type of wood mulch it is. It just says 100% recycled wood mulch.
Old pencil shavings, Red.
Dude, this shit, I put it in my garden and I've been using it for a couple years and haven't really had an issue with it. I imagined it was like 2x4s and some shit like that. And it is, but it's also like furniture. Like there was like all kinds of shit in this couple bags, dude, that included like all kinds of like kind of like cardboard. That cardboard building material. It's like it looks like plywood sheets, but it's cardboard. You know what I'm talking about? Like it's like 3/4 of an inch thick, and the shit's
Yeah, they use it in the shipping industry, like for shipping boxes and stuff.
and it's like they like build shelves and shit. I don't know what the hell else they meant, but if you get it wet, the shit just like whoop, you know what I mean? Turns into garbage, right? I don't know what the fuck I was talking about. Where the fuck were we? So, yeah.
Mulch.
Oh, that shit was. It looked like that shit had gone through a wood chipper, like a whole sheet of it, and it was like all in this bag of mulch. That and probably like some of that, the foam board insulation that has the aluminum foil on one side. The IR shield on one side. Looked like a whole fucking sheet of that went through. Dude, it was wild, all the garbage. It was literally just a bunch of trash in a bag of mulch. And I'd already thrown it down before I realized. I was like, son of a bitch. So I got to like pick through it, So
It's not that bad.
Keep an eye on your bags of mulch if you get the 100%, wood mulch. Or depending on what those guys throw through the wood chippers. Who knows what their kind of furniture they're just throwing through the wood
You didn't find
chipper.
any pinky rings in there, did you?
I don't know, dude. I should go through it a little
You're
bit.
talking about wood chippers and shit, mysterious things going through it. Some mafioso fucking wood chipper
man.
shit.
So yeah, dude. Did you hear they keep finding mafioso things in the bottom of Lake Mead too? That's crazy. 4 of them. Keep watching that shit. There's this one cool channel. These dudes are like fishermen, and they've been covering like the bodies and stuff, and their channel's been blowing up, dude. Really big. I end up just sitting here watching them fucking fish. I said I'm not even watching fishing. I'll sit there and watch these dudes fish because I'm into watching fucking.
I can't remember where I was reading it, which I know is a horrible way to start a fucking story. But in the ancient times, I guess when there were droughts in certain areas, when the water levels dropped low enough that they can read inscriptions on the rocks saying, that this is going to be a major drought, blah, 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 like a warning from the past to the future, about the fragility of the fucking environment, man.
I
Never
would
forget,
say-
like when you look at the Serengeti and all that shit in Africa, like there used to be inland seas there. They have found fossils of whales and shit.
Yeah, dude.
So everything has changed,
It's all
and
gonna
everything
continue
is
to
in a
change.
constant state of flux and change.
Constant state of flux, man. Whether it's naturally, whether it's human impact or whatever happens, a fucking asteroid comes through and whoop takes off a chunk of us. I mean, it's gonna change every few so many thousand years. I mean, our time on this planet is just, what do you say? Our mileage may vary.
Yeah.
I try not to take everything, too seriously because our mileage could vary whether we have a say in it or not. You know what I mean? Whether it's because but I try to be mindful. I don't say that like, oh, and I'm gonna go like off and I'll let all hell break loose and
Right.
not pay my bills and shit because I know that like that might not be in my lifetime. And it might not even be in like 6 generations from now's lifetime. And then I still need to be responsible now. Whatever it is, I try to keep my head up and out of water because this isn't what I'm dealing with here. I try not to watch the news unless I'm directly looking at a very specific topic. But if that's the case, I spend minimum time on that and then I go do something else. But I don't look at a lot of external noise. You know what I mean? There's a lot of external noise, whatever it is, whether they're real, false narratives, whatever the fuck it is, designed distractions, whatever the fuck they are. There's a lot that's real when you go into a garden and you hear birds and you get fucking stung in the foot with a fucking thorn or some shit. All that shit's real.
Get stung in the foot with a thorn.
Yeah,
that
dude.
You swerved me at the end, bro. I thought you were going to say Yellow Jacket.
No, man, I was stepping on roses. Exactly. You don't even know what it is that just stung you. You think it was a bee.
It hurts. It's in the moment. It is now.
There's a lot of life happening, and there's just so much going on. That calms all of that external noise. And I know that self-sufficiency and sustainability is the only way. Like if I'm so upset because prices are going up and all that shit, the only thing that I can do is make sure that other costs go down. You know what I mean? I can't get upset about anything. The only thing that I can do is roll with the
beyond your control, bro. You can be mad if you want to. It ain't gonna make a fuck bit of difference, but you could be mad. You're entitled to it.
Lake Mead's drying up. I can't cry and get upset, but I can grab somebody's trash and bring it home and create a rain barrel. You know what I mean?
Bring somebody's bag of trash home. That's how I'm making a difference. Man.
I don't mean somebody's
doing
trash
my
can.
part.
Don't go steal somebody's trash can and make a rain barrel. But maybe somebody's getting rid of a 300.
Red, you know what the word on the street is in your neighborhood is that you are a private investigator that likes to rifle through people's trash for the receipts.
A couple times that I grabbed
the next time you go out, because I know you own one of those fucker, take your big Inspector Clouseau fucking the magnifying glass, and I know you have a deer stalker cap too. Which, if you don't know what a deer stalker cap is, it's the old Sherlock Holmes, which has a ball cap, and then the back of it's a ball cap too. It's like usually tweed or some shit. So go out with the deer stalker and the magnifying glass the next time that you and Becca pull trash. Becca, you're gonna be the cute sidekick, like
intense, man.
like Inspector Gadget, man.
I'm talking. Put on some gloves and get real. Going through it. Well, the next is gonna be cardboard. There's so many people throw away cardboard. But anyway, what was I saying? I go around and there's nobody has gardens. I can see everybody's backyard because nobody really.
Now you're eye hustling the neighborhood too. They think you're casing the joint, Red.
They probably do. I mean, honestly,
probably do. Now he's digging through our trash.
Just looking to see, look at people's landscaping and shit like that. Check out, honestly,
inspiration.
Look at inspiration stuff for ours.
There's a couple.
Billy says that's where my trash.
People got some garden.
Some good trash out there, guys. You got ruffle through those 1,000.
Not too many people have like large scale gardens. There's a neighbor down
but most people's yard isn't as big as yours in the neighborhood too, right? Isn't yours like almost a double backlot?
Most are not. My backyard takes up 2 of my neighbors' backyards
Yeah.
going across the width. And then the depth of it, I mean, is like 3 times as long as
Oh
most
shit.
depths. Most people are on a 0.1, like I was saying. There's a lot
Yeah.
of 0.1s in the neighborhood. There's some 0.2s. Corner lots are 0.2s. For whatever reason, we got this curve, and like the 3 or 4 houses all right here. Like we're a 0.3 next to us. She's like a 0.5. She's got a large lot next to us. She's got the back. She's got like that middle part.
Right.
That side next to us.
Yeah.
But yeah, all these lots have this really nice little curve to it.
Well, I mean, you guys are getting some great production out of it, you know.
I'd love to take my neighbor's lot. I was talking, shout out Yellow Tree Clay, man. He has a really fucking cool old farm thing. He had a really fucking cool farm that he traded in, I think, for his clay shop that he works right professionally now. But he professionally ran a
right there
permaculture farm. Is that one of those puffballs, Skilbo?
No, I wish. It does kind of look like that though, now that you mention it. No, somebody in chat told me what this was. He told me what it was, but I'm horrible for remembering any fucking thing. Something about an apple is what this is called. It's really cool, man.
What's it made from? Clay?
Yes. Clay pipes made it out of clay.
Oh, badass. Yeah, so
cheers everybody on a brand new day. Let's fucking start it off, man.
Inspired me with some cool stuff.
Midnight hash time.
Cheers, hash time.
I gotta go get my torch and something to drink. Hold on, I'll be back.
Torching it up.
I'm out of all my
I'm
concentrates.
gonna have to put some hash in this bowl. I'll probably get a little strawberries and cream hash.
Are we still going?
Yeah, Skilbo, I guess, is going to get hash or go get his pipe, and I guess we'll hash time and then we'll sign off for everybody.
I'm making hash, but I got another one I can fire up. I need to watch this stuff.
Fire up some hash and we've been running a 2-hour show, so we usually just go for 2 hours. So I guess we'll smoke some hash. Trail on. Conversation's going good though. I like where it's at anyways, because
It's good stuff.
yeah, it's good stuff. You gotta stay positive.
Like, there's a good topic tonight, and it really came to light, like this year personally for me, like as a caregiver and stuff. Like we literally almost lost our rights to come our own plants to heal ourselves. Yeah,
And we can't forget how cannabis still has a federal stigma, and I mean it's still not truly free. And we're just being more restricted. Like what blows my mind is like I'm still hella focused on cannabis, but like I got my peripheral is keeping an eye on the fucking food, because they're closing in on what we're going to be allowed to grow with food. They've already like damn near closed off like the different species of like bananas, apples, pears. I mean, it's all commercialized to the point where you have to know somebody to know somebody to know somebody to get specific certain kinds of fruit and vegetable. Fortunately, it still exists. It does still exist. But a lot of it you really can't get commercially. There's some cool stuff. Yellow Tree was telling me about how something about, I'd have to look back at the message to see if the word was grants. I don't think it was grants, but he was, I don't know if subsidized or something, like maybe something for growing heirlooms. You get credits for growing heirlooms or something. I don't know, maybe the same way you get organic credits or something like that. Maybe they're tax credits or something, but for keeping heirlooms on your property, which I think is huge and very important because of that reason. Because it's not all like political, right? It might be Big Brother to a sense, where it's like, you know, the lobbying bodies telling the politics what to do at the top end, like who to govern and what like regulations to enforce. But in the end, like, if some small businesses exist, a lot of like what they're doing in cannabis, the big cannabis comes in and tries to like take them out. A lot of that stuff has happened already in the food industry and is just continuing to happen more and more. And in the food industry, I mean like apples and bananas and that type of shit, to where like the big producers, Chiquita, I probably shouldn't even say big names, but like those big producers will like make sure that there's only a handful of
Don't
like
get the banana mafia after you read.
there's only a couple of bananas that really exist anymore, and there should be like,
Hey, you know what? Fuck Chiquita. You know what? Fuck them, man. They used to like pay people down there in South of Mexico or fucking South America to go in and rough up the people to make them do their bidding and all that bullshit. Yeah, look into that, man. That's fucking awful shit. We've done some horrible shit in Latin America, man, and
fucking
all South America too.
Yeah, no doubt, dude.
I thought the banana thing was just because there's only one type of banana that's really like commercial viable where we can ship it around.
Exactly.
And that's the one that tastes like
plantains
shit.
all the ways, man.
The rest of them taste
And
like
we're not talking
they
about the
can't
weed
ship.
that grows in our yard. Oh, damn, another one already rolled up. Oh, I was gonna put a little bit in the bowl for the hash time.
Oh.
But I mean, just to like kind of close out that conversation, but that's like I'm afraid of it happening to cannabis in that same respect, right? Where the only cultivars that exist, or the only seed companies that stick around, are the ones that are growing the commercially viable seed stock. You know what I mean? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because it's already pretty much sort of there with GMO tomatoes and stuff like that. And now with subsidized farming, you're getting farmers that are forced to use GMO corn, not like there's somebody at the back of their head, saying, you have to use this, but because like, it's the only economical way for them to grow their plot to be actually properly, subsidized. So, I mean, like, I get it. I get where like the catch-22, where the loophole is. It sucks because it's everybody's food. You know what I mean? And it all comes down to like, there's other ways of going about it. And I think that exploring, all of us already are like starting it, right? Abolish, you got that, butt chugging, low cost, how to like do something like super effective and efficient, low cost. And Skilbo, you're a shining example also. And then like I don't know how many people in our chat whose gardens that I've seen, they're shining examples of this regenerative movement. So it's like almost like preaching to the choir, but it's a fun conversation to just have openly, because it all gets the ball rolling, because then somebody's going to get sparked up and probably have the conversation with their wife, might have it with their mom, and just say, let's keep growing tomatoes. We all talk about cannabis all the time, but we still need to focus on the food thing, because that is still politically driven just the same as cannabis is. I never realized how politically driven our food system really is, but it really has a lot of effect on our actual physical health. Being dependent solely on what's available in our grocery stores is because what's commercially viable, not what's nutritionally dense, right? We're not focusing on nutritionally dense foods at the supermarket. We're focused on commercially viable foods at the supermarket. That's why growing your own heirlooms and keeping on heirlooms is such an important thing. And it's difficult to grow heirlooms at scale because not all of them grow big, or you know what I mean? They haven't been genetically altered to be pest resistant. You have to grow other crops to, resist pests and do all this permaculture in order to do it effectively. And that ties up the square footage of a plot, right? If you're trying to get only, money for corn, or only money for even tomatoes, you have so much square footage to work with, you're only growing tomatoes. But you could also grow lettuce at the footprint. You could grow stuff in the ground like potatoes and radishes. Like there's a whole aerial and underground world to work with, you know what I mean, for growing. And I think that a lot of us who grow cannabis still look at cannabis almost in a monocropping kind of a way, where we keep our rows totally clean. We keep in a lot, and I get it, you know, for purposes of like dust and stuff like that. But if you put roots in the ground, you don't have to worry about dust. You know, and grow a lot of plants, you know, allow plants to touch plants and all this other stuff. Allow bugs to enter your garden because it will combat the threatening bugs to your plant. And if you have good ecosystem rolling and flourishing throughout, that includes healthy bug life, it's going to include healthy soil life. When you have healthy soil, the plants grow so healthy that the bad bugs don't even see them. So again, there's another preventative right there. Boom, is just overall plant health. But this ecosystem of permaculture, it doesn't matter. You're gonna get bugs on some plant. You know, like I said, we're growing squash. We're gonna get squash bugs in. But what happens is we live in Michigan, so that, you know, this is a totally different thing where we have the ability to go through a freeze cycle. Some people don't, so we can kind of say, all right, let's kill off our squash, start anew, and just start over. A lot of times you just do that in permaculture. Worry about it again, but in a someone who's further south, they can start a new round of squash and grow it till December and be totally fine. You know what I mean?
Or build those like little hoop house things, you know, that just goes over top of the, you know, like your drawer that you have out there.
We can.
All you do is bend some PVC, you put a coupling in the middle there, drape it with some plastic, and away you go. Throw a couple of hinges on. You don't even need a hinge. You can just pick it up and move the fucking thing.
Yeah.
It's so small.
Yeah. Really just keeping the snow off of it.
Right.
The roots of most greens and like brassicas, for example, as long as they're like full size by the time they go to freeze, because once it frosts, they're just not going to grow, but they're not going to die. They're just going to sit there and enjoy the cool temps and be totally cool. The roots might freeze, the ground freezes, whatever happens.
The roots are deep enough, right?
Yeah, exactly. They're deep enough that plant just stays alive. Now, once the snow hits it and smothers it off from the light, it can't photosynthesize.
Well,
it's like,
right. You have the greenhouse effect going on with the sunlight every day. So
Just
as long
doesn't
as you're being
grow.
vigilant, it's not that bad.
You only have like 8 hours of daylight, so there's not enough photosynthesizing going on for them to grow fast enough, and its temps are so cold. But that doesn't mean that they're dead. So if you can just protect them, there's tons of cold weather crops. People grow with 4 feet of snow in, I don't know, what's like way up in Canada, man. You know, all winter long. I think no heat caterpillar tunnels and stuff like that. And not all crops, not tomatoes. Tomatoes and peppers are hot weather crops. You can't get those. You got to heat it. But you can grow carrots. You can grow potatoes. You can grow some, all the kinds of brassicas are great. Broccolis and chards and fucking kales and all that kind of stuff with a heavy crunch. And it's got a lot of nutritional density and heavy value. You can store those crops or freeze them. The shit that you grow on the ground, you start them now, you grow them into like November while they're good and big, and then it freezes. They freeze in the ground, and the ground acts as a storage container for these fucking things. As long as they don't die and go mushy on you. Then you just plow them out of the ground before you can, or before like the ground gets too dense in like January when it snows. You get them out of the ground, and then you put them in a cooler for the rest of the year. Then you grow them again next year. Per potato, we're averaging like 4 potatoes. You know, some of them are getting 2, but like some of them are getting like 5, 6 with a couple smalls, you know, but few good solid potatoes per plant, you know. So I mean, you think about it, 1 gives you 3. It's kind of cool. So the pack of seeds cost $3, gave us, you know, let's say 100 seeds. You're not going to grow 100 seeds. You're going to lose 100. You're going to pluck a few because you're going to plant so many in the hole. I always plant like 6 in the fucking hole, and then they'll all sprout.
Survival of the fittest, right? Transplant.
Fucking pull them, you know what I mean? So like you wasted a bunch of seeds, but still, so $3, right? Well, dude, we've grown all this lettuce and shit this year that we spent $3 on some seeds, and now we're saving the seeds again. It's like this perpetual cycle. All we had to do was spend $3. and yeah, we're gonna save a little bit of money the first year because we grew it and it only cost $3. But now it's like it's earning value. Now it's earning its keep because now it's producing something. Now it's producing seed for the following year. What? All these peas. We got I don't know, what is this? Nothing in this, right? We got like one of these that's filled with peas. She just got one filled it completely with coriander. That is celery. When celery goes to, cilantro. When cilantro goes to seed, it becomes coriander, which is a great spice for cooking. They put it in gin. Probably a handful.
Just in case you want to get some bootleg bathtub fucking gin going on
they
the
put it on
side, man.
pickles. And it's just a great spice. But we're also going to grow our own cilantro. I wanted to say celery again.
You're gonna become salsa makers.
Yeah, dude. And and then for the pollinators, we had all these daisies. We even kept some heads of daisies. We're gonna have to spend pennies on the dollar of what we've spent in the past on just because we're saving our own seed. So I mean, once you do it one year, then the following year it's not even as expensive. And then if you just let some shit just fall, just let some of the seeds fall, most of that shit will just come back on its own anyways. All of our sunflowers that are growing, we planted, I don't know, a tenth of what's actually growing out there. There's so many volunteer dill and everything that came up. We really didn't have to plant that much, but we planted it in excess, and we're going to let this crop go to seed, and then next year it'll be even more. It compounds itself, it's compounding benefits, just with little $2 pack of seeds, and I mean, I would love to say that like a cannabis pack of seeds could do that, and it can if you can perpetuate a clone and find a keeper.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Or a bag seed. You can do it with bag seed too.
Yep. But what we have going on with our cannabis is every so often we let it go to seed. And that means that we do go through that, destructive force of all of our crop is seeded up. And unfortunately, every year when I grow plants, I get a couple seeds in there anyway. I know neighbors got a few, there's some males in the air. There's hemp plots. There's,
dry sift, baby, dry sift.
Exactly. I know outdoor in the summertime, it's a crapshoot. You know what I mean? I've got a male this year. And honestly, I've had my male in a couple years ago, and the shit that was on my deck was fine. I got a couple seeds in it. It wasn't like blown out in seeds. So like, I know like, even if I have a fence and I have trees and all kinds of stuff, even if the wind blows, a neighbor might get a seed or two. They're not getting blown out in seeds. You know what I mean? Like pollen travels, I get it, but there's a lot to catch pollen. Rainy days, whatever, at the end of the season. But my immediate surroundings will certainly get pollinated. But I mean, I've got multiple plants at different ends of and I'm going to use this year for that specifically because we're going to have hemp growing, and we're only keeping one or two of the varietals to keep the seed from to perpetuate the green room cross. The rest are we're going to have all that seed go towards. We might do like cover crop with hemp. We might put hemp in some cover crop mixes and do that, and then use some of that hemp seed in smoothies.
So I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Just overall, just maybe ferment
The hemp hearts. Seed. Yeah.
Yeah. There's just all kinds of stuff with the hemp hearts because we're going to have. I mean, if we're only going to keep one keeper for the green room, we might have 6 or 7 mothers filled with seed.
So how are you going to make your decision on which ones you're going to keep to perpetuate in the future? Just off of the growth?
I'm thinking about picking narrowing it down to a couple based on smell and maybe effects, smoke some of it, because these are going to be high.
I would like to be part of the test group for that.
Absolutely. And then what it's going to get narrowed down to is I'm going to take the 3 that I like the most, and then I'll get them lab tested. That keeps the cost around $100. I can take the 3 to get lab tested, and then I'll find out which one of the 3 that I like will have that like CBD number that I'm kind of looking for, which I'm hoping
maybe
is
like 6 or 7%.
hoping 10%, but I'll be very happy with 6 or 7%.
Right.
Like the packs say like 18% on the green room, and I don't know what the percentage of the mother that I kept was.
How would you guys feel if you had something that was like 7% CBD and 3% THC? It's coming in at 10%.
I'd be happy with that. I'd like to see some more cannabinoid in there also. So depending on what that is, I
Right.
want an overall cannabinoid around 20. Just for
It would be a heartbreaker if you picked the one that you liked the most and then it wasn't CBD, it was all THC. You're like, God damn it.
yeah, like only
I
because
thought that was too much like that.
I know CBD percent can get in that 20 range. So if CBD can get around 20, and THC can get around 30.
These are the blueberry ones, right? The DJ Short blueberry crossed with Auto.
No.
They're just the green room time.
Just the green rooms. Okay.
Yeah. That's what out of all that stock, that's all that I grew to like succession and actually, or I didn't say that right. It's just not succession in anything. To like succeed in growing the plants, I made those ones properly. The other ones I kind of kept in starter pots and just let them like fuck around, and I kind of killed off some.
You
males.
stress tested them early. That's all. That's all you did.
They just kind of they're still growing underneath the fucking tree.
Some of them are not.
A couple of them just died because we haven't been watering them. They're just in little like 4-inch starter pots like all season. We killed off some whatever those plants. The green room plants. Let's see, the males are officially starting to flower and they're like 7 feet tall.
Oh shit.
They're
Yeah.
like
One of
Christmas
them,
trees.
yeah. There's 3 males knowingly, and then another one that hasn't really started to flower yet, but it's structured like a male. That's like 7 feet tall.
Hell yeah.
There is JMB says CBN lately. Yeah, dude. When we were working in the actual market, like the regulated market, that like nighttime meds is like the hot spot. Everybody wants something to go to sleep. And CBN is kind of where it's at. That's the secret ingredient in the indica recipes.
It's just cured.
And it's super cured. Something that we are doing for our high CBN recipes is we have a stock of material that actually just kind of sits off to the side. This is labeled. We actually went through our back stock and we were like, all right, let's take our oldest, and it's time to like figure out what we need to like work on and do first. Like, all right, we got
Making some RSO out of it's what I've been.
yeah, exactly. We got some material from, well, that's what was the thing. It was time to like do some process and make some RSO. So we had to like organize. Everything's dated. Well, the most recent shit, we want to make some RSO from something, it's, the most recent shit we're probably going to like turn into like bubble hash or dry sieve. Some of like the maybe like mid-range stuff that's like within a year old, we'll make into RSO and do some stuff like that. And then some stuff that's like a year old or older, we'll put off to the side to, work with probably making like edibles or topicals or something like that with. But what we have sitting at like, I don't know, right now it's dated. Anything that's dated like 2020 or older is marked for CBN, just because it's a couple years old. And so that's already going to have like a higher conversion from the THC being converted over the CBN.
Never forget the 2018 fucking house blend dry sip shred.
Oh yeah. Skilbo missed a show once because he was knocked out after smoking some old hash.
Hey, that shit was no joke, man. God damn.
You think that it'd be like a different cannabinoid, but it produces it naturally on the plant. But I'll tell you what, when you have less THC and more CBN.
Well, and I think a lot of that was the Girls Gone Wild and the Granddaddy Purple in that one. So it was like, woof. Fucking hard to keep your eyes open, man.
Both of those are high in myrcene. Welcome back, AB. Heavy myrcene plants, dude. That well, myrcene in general is a sedative. Would you like a little hashy head? I'm finally hitting my hash time. 25 minutes later, we've been running, dude. I will talk all fucking night, dude. I swear, if I don't shut up and just
hit the pipe, Brad.
So I'm gonna.
It's time for me to pause for station identification and say good morning to everyone. We're starting off with the right foot, man. It is now fucking Friday. We are in the midst of a full moon.
Full moon takeover.
What do you think, Becca?
Talking about growing the sovereignty, freedom, baby. What you think?
Yeah.
She thinks it's a long show.
Tired.
Yeah.
So tired lately, just being outside so much.
Fresh air will get you, and hard labor.
It's been a blast, man.
And just like nonstop.
Yeah, I'm looking at this cool thing that we have going on as this cool diverse
It's the inspiration, man.
of what it was. You know, the whole cannabis thing. I really wanted to like include everything in the ethos of the operation, if you will. And her motivation has really helped me like gear it all, like help it all come together, because she has like a lot of the same ethos, and it's such a big help, man. And she's got great ideas, and it helps shit fucking come together faster. So it's been really fucking beneficial.
Hell yeah.
A lot of ways. But there's a shit ton of where that comes, man. It means that there's just a lot of work to do. You know what I mean? And it's just a lot of you know, putting the nails in the wall. You know, a lot of, you know, go and crunching. She's tired. I'm tired.
Get some sleep. Shit.
Yeah, man.
Because you know you got to get up and get cracking at it, man.
Got a fucked up eye.
Gotta go to the farm in the morning.
He's a warrior.
Keep cranking though. Yeah, we're gonna be at Gems and Genetics. You guys should come on out to that one. Is the 26th and the 27th. It's gonna be at Sarnes Resort. It's up on the west side of Michigan, like Midwest, middle laterally of the state, West Coast over there, like northwest of GR, Grand Rapids. If you're up in that area, come on out. It's a camping event. It's going to be fun. There's also Camp Hareem happening that weekend, which is not too far away. And I think that we're going to pop in on the Sunday and check out that event that's going on as well. And there's all kinds of events. I believe the Clio Cup, if you can't make it out to the west side of Michigan, the Clio Cultivation is having a medical only event. Well, at least inside the tent will be medical only. They're going to have a band and probably some festivities for anybody 21 and up on the outside of the tent. And you can obviously get access to their store and all that kind of stuff without being a medical patient. So head on over there if you're in the Clio area and you can't make it out to the west side of the state. There's also the back to school sesh going on at the end of August, the same weekend. I think that's on the 26th as well, and that's happening in Detroit. So east to west coast, there's an awesome event happening, all kind of puddled in on the same weekend there. But if it seems to be definitely in favor for all of the variety of travel that our consumers have to go towards. So that's kind of cool. So there you go.
There you go.
At the Gems and Genetics and probably Hareem. We're going to see how fast it takes us to pack up and hit the road. And as long as we get there in a timely manner, we'll be hanging out with, I believe Dankman Dan's going to have a table at Camp Hareem. I'm pretty sure Astro Charlie will have a table. Put a question mark on that. I know he's doing the
and Natalie's going to have some artwork probably. That's cool.
There.
Yeah.
Shout out to Astro also. He really hooked us up in a pinch because we were in need supply for more business cards. We're down to our old business cards, pre-roll stickers for our tubes and stuff we're out of. And so we really wanted to have all of our branding back before these events that we have going on. And, he came through super flash. And shout out to, I I don't know if I give him enough credit. Rick Cole, he does like, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
He does
man.
branding stuff.
Yeah.
They have Kai Bear Studios, I believe. Kai Bear. They'll do anything from banners to coffee mugs, all kinds of shit for you, man. Actually, as a matter of fact, he sent me this. This is my mouse pad. You know,
That's sweet,
this
man.
this is one of our logos at Astro.
He's always positive vibes too. So
He can get you anything, man. And so I get my banners through him because he's a fucking awesome dude. He's always showing support and love, and they make quality shit. So his banners are quality. This mouse pad's awesome. It's held up about as long as any mouse pad I've ever had does. I mean, it's barely
Don't go
starting
bad,
to do
Red.
that little thing where it starts to roll.
people still have AOL ones, Red. They don't go bad.
Fucking it. Yeah, do people still have mouse pads? You're all on your phones. Everybody's on their phone.
You damn whippersnappers.
Wow.
Red,
And-
it's almost 12:30.
I know, dude. It's late, man. I gotta kill the stream, man. I'm gonna hit the wrong button. If
We have the most diehard of the diehard still hanging with us here.
That's
man.
what I like to see.
35
Man.
strong.
I give it another half hour for the diehards and,
Yeah.
and get us all getting sleepy and munchified.
Those CDNs are
Encore.
working, Red.
Yeah, encores. And
The
everything.
encore is over at Eagles. That's where the encore will be.
Yeah,
Right.
head on over there. So, anyways, I always like to do it when I just want to cut it. Abolish anything lastly for our viewers? You have anything?
Yeah. If anybody's going to be out at Gems and Genetics, I'm going to go out there and camp that event. So stop by
Yeah.
and burn one. And pretty sure I'm going to have the camera rolling if you want to say hi to the community or show off your booth or whatever, get in touch.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Oh yeah, Skilbo, you know it's coming your way.
Yeah, man. That's all I got to say. Yeah, man.
I like it.
Yeah, man.
It's been a good fucking show. We have definitely ran the gamut of topics, and it's all just positive vibes and just trying to be mindful about things. And on that note, I would say please come over to the Michigan Bros Grow Show channel Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Bro Show Live. Then swing back through Monday night at 11 p.m. for the late sesh. Yeah,
Oh,
man.
yeah, Skilbo. I really appreciate you guys hanging out, man, and just shooting the shit because it's a fun shit to shoot. Becca, do you have anything lastly
Have a
to
good night.
conclude? Have a good night, everybody. I like it. No, I really appreciate everybody who tunes in. All the chat.
He's
land.
digging in.
I'll finish off. That's what I like. She says have a good night, and I love it. Yeah, no, I really
Elbow him in the ribs. Just pop him one.
appreciate Skilbo's time. Appreciate Bala's time. Appreciate Becca's
We
time.
love you, Red.
Love you guys.
I appreciate everybody's time out there that comes through every week and just kind of sits around and listens to us ramble about whatever it is. This week it was about food sovereignty. So I don't know, man. We still buy shit at the grocery store. We spent a shit ton of money at the grocery store, but today we ate some beans and some carrots that were hella nutritious because they were super purple. And we'll talk about anthocyanins a different time, but there's not enough of them in the grocery store. So grow them yourself, man. Be your own.
So grow yourself, man.
Yeah, man. If you can't get it right, man, you gotta do it your damn self, dude. Fuck, man. Love you all. Peace out, everybody.
Mini Red Rants.
All right. No, yeah. Thanks very much, guys.